Welcome back to Soundcheck. Welcome back to Soundcheck. And sometimes Soundcheck is just a continuation of what we do over there on RØDECaster User Meetup, which will be the case again this time. But welcome back. So what we do here on Soundcheck is every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Central Time. A bunch of us learners come together and learn from each other new things that we discover. And this week we have John IT with us, also going to report back a little bit more about the RØDECaster video. He get to buy one and testing it right now. And we also have our friends from Clubhouse as well joining us. So we have Lorianne in the audience, Christy in the audience. I'm about to paste the link to the YouTube feed if you want to watch us live. I've been simulcasting this for a few months now, doing a video feed on YouTube at the same time as the Clubhouse room is going on. So you can watch it there, or feel free to come on up on stage like how you normally do on Clubhouse. Unmute your microphone and then we can chat directly. We are also going to leave some room to talk about probably, if there's enough people interested, I think Lorianne wants to talk to us a little bit about potentially bringing some of her rooms to YouTube as well, talking about live streaming to YouTube. If we have enough people interested in the eCam, I think Ernesto too was a little bit curious about eCam. We could also talk a little bit more about that. So if you want to join us, if you're in Clubhouse, just do the same thing. Raise your hand, come on up on stage and chat with us. And Lorianne, you can come on up on stage. And if you want to, you could also join us through Zoom. Zoom is where you're going to actually get your video feed on. But if you just want to go audio, it is perfectly fine staying in Clubhouse, Lorianne. Hi, Lorianne.
Hi, John.
Hi.
Hi. Nice to be here. Great to hear what the agenda is. Yes, I was your comments last week really piqued my curiosity about what you're doing, and the possibility of you sharing more about that is really interesting to me. And when you talk about this RØDECaster video, I'm not sure if that's a required piece of equipment needed to stream. Like, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Like,
don't worry. Yeah. And you know how this space, you don't need to worry about it. But we might be sometimes jumping in, like, 60% down the road about something. And if you're just now joining us and want to start from 1% or 0%, that's perfectly fine. We can find a way to kind of slowly ease you into the conversation. Don't feel like you're interrupting if where you come in might be kind of breaking our conversation, because I will let you know, and it's totally fine to come back. Even in the future, we can come back to the conversation, but I would like to get onto some conversation about live streaming, but because tonight, but because we were already having some conversation about the RØDECaster video that was just released last week, and since John IT has the opportunity to test one out right now, he has one with him, we will just carry on the conversation, and then we'll jump back, Lorianne, to talk a little bit more about live streaming in general, and maybe perhaps the software that I use and other people are using, or maybe just even keeping it general in just the sense of what live streaming video is going to do that you haven't yet thought about. So let's meet our friends over on Zoom with us. We have John IT and John Lowe and Ernesto. Ernesto hasn't had his camera turned on yet. So hello, everybody. Hello, Ernesto, John, and John.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
we can hear you. I just don't see you.
Yeah, there's always issues. There's always something that happens, man.
Wait, are you on your Windows? Are you on?
So I was messing around with vMix earlier, and the Blackmagic ATEM was working. Camera is on. Both cameras are on, but for some reason, when I select Blackmagic on Zoom, it just shows up black.
Oh, yeah. It shows that there's no video signal, because on Zoom, I can see that your video signal is off. Mm-hmm. At least it's showing me that you have no video signal coming in. So it must not be sending any video feed into vMix.
Okay. Actually, I turned off vMix and I just went directly to
went straight to Zoom. Oh, okay.
Yeah, straight to the PC.
So did you reboot your ATEM?
No, but I will do that.
I don't know. John IT, what do you think would be the next step to do if the computer is not even seeing the ATEM signal?
If you reboot it and it doesn't work, then probably try to update it. Is it at the latest version?
I think it was working on
Yeah, it was working last
I
Tuesday.
also realized, I remember, Ernesto, last time when you tested with vMix and then go to Zoom, you were also having issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with the ATEM, maybe, maybe I need to turn
maybe it's the sequence of when vMix took over the feed, and then Zoom suddenly does not recognize it. So it's either a Zoom issue or all the combination, including...
Does vMix have virtual output?
Yes, it does. So it has now they actually have an option to we can go and it'll go to Zoom. It'll automatically connect and it'll ask you to log into Zoom.
Okay.
Within vMix itself, right?
Yeah, within vMix.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So close vMix and then unplug the Blackmagic, plug it back in and see if that.
Are you trying to bypass vMix and just come straight to?
Yeah, straight to Zoom.
Then just unplug your. I would imagine unplug your ATEM, power it, cycle it, and then see if it would, now Zoom would see it as a signal.
Yeah, if not, I have an Elgato capture card that I can plug that in.
I think the ATEM is just having a RØDECaster video jealousy.
I was looking at you guys when I was trying to, turn on my PC and stuff, because I still had some English assignments that I had to get done. So I was like, before I can play, let me go finish that first.
Okay, so all right. So while we wait for that, and we'll say hi to John Lowe. Hello.
Hey, what's up? Nice to see you.
Did we ever talk about getting Keyboard Maestro at some point?
I did. There was a video that I can't remember the influencer name, but he does really good
was it Neil?
Video tutorials. No, he's bald.
Oh, from Thailand. Alec.
No, he's a white dude.
No, he's white dude, but he lives in Thailand. Alec, right? Alec,
does he?
Take One Tech. You should go visit him. He's in Bangkok. I'll be
That
meeting
close?
him. I'll tell him.
Say hi to him. He was doing the Maestro thing, and I was like forwarding it to you. Remember?
Yeah,
and then
yeah. Okay.
You heard about Keyboard Maestro, but it's just another piece of
Another
software
thing of another software.
to
But I think it's
learn
like
to put in, which
$36.
I agree.
It's
Yeah.
hard. It's not easy to
It's
use,
hard,
but it is
but it's
so
powerful.
powerful. Yes. You know,
It
most
is.
powerful stuff, you know, it's really difficult to get started.
Yeah, it's borderline. Like if you are too lazy to script and to not wanting to learn how to script and everything, Keyboard Maestro is possibly the next easier thing, you know. So
That's good. Oh,
Yeah.
wait, we have Christy. Let me see if I can quickly switch to that. Christy sent a chat saying, "So good to see you, John Ong. I'm going to leave Clubhouse because I'm watching on YouTube right now. I think the account I'm using watch on YouTube is Mr. David, just for FYI." Okay, thank you, Christy. Lovely to see you also. And yeah, we'll see you over on YouTube. And you can feel free to chat in the YouTube. So if you have any comments, you can just use your YouTube comment area and just type it in. And, well, I guess live will be chat. Type in the chat, and then we will engage your conversation with you from there. Okay, so John IT, let's continue. I will again try to put the link of our past conversation over in our RØDECaster user meetup, where John actually showed a few things on there, and we discovered a few things together. Like you could add some preset custom scenes there as well. He just had it. Like I think he bought it Thursday, and he just had it for a few days. So he's discovering it, but has some firsthand experience. Maybe give us like a short recap of what we talk about there. You find some things a little bit quirky, like a little interesting way of doing things that is not maybe the traditional video way of doing things.
Yeah, so there are certain things like connecting it to the computer in order to
I thought that was interesting. Like it has its own essentially control. It has its own dedicated USB connection to the computer for Rode Central, essentially, right? Is that what?
Yes.
Yeah. So on the back, there are 5 USB-C ports total, and the one that has like a little gear icon, the second USB port under the computer label, is for controls. Right, all the settings and controls, and then the other one that has like a monitor with the arrow pointing upward. That one is for video.
Yes.
So video feed. Video for what? Oh, to send the mix essentially.
Correct.
To
the computer.
Your
so
computer,
that's how you're able to see this inside of Zoom right now. Because I'm using it as a capture card.
And it just shows up as RØDECaster video in.
Yes.
Okay. And audio?
So the same way.
Audio too, right?
Yes, it does video and audio.
Do you go through audio now, or do you go through your RØDECaster? Do you use your? Oh, sorry. It's I think it's the latest SDK. Let me switch back to your feed. Like somehow the latest Ecamm, the active speaker dropped out after a while. Don't know why. Okay, now we're back to you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so no, I don't use it for video
audio. Okay.
I use this for audio.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The Apollo. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, the audio part it works. Rode had years to perfect this.
Yeah.
This is great. It's just the video part is a little quirky, and the other thing is you need a specific cable for the video. Yeah. You need a specific cable for the video output to work properly.
Oh, do you know what?
It just wouldn't show up.
So the one that comes with?
Yes, that will work. But the funny thing is, these are 2 Rode cables.
But one is not for data, maybe, or as much data.
Or video, yes. So you need a specific cable, which is going to be annoying to a few people in the future.
So it comes with one USB-C cable?
Yes.
And that is supposed to be for the video feed one. the one
Yes.
with the video feed to computer, and then the other one can be any USB-C cable, any data USB-C cable,
Yeah, because it's only sending data for
like
you to do
info to
configuration.
control. Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
So I wonder what that difference mean. Like, does it need to be? So let's say if I use like a Thunderbolt cable, would that work?
Not sure.
Maybe next week you can tell us. We don't, you don't have to do it right now.
Yeah.
But you can. Like, I'm curious now. Does that mean it needs to be a good quality, like full USB-C? Every connectors are utilized to send video signal there, and therefore, some USB-C cables are just power. We understand that.
Correct. Yep.
But maybe it could potentially be. It just need to be a proper data cable, or does it need to be a specific kind of cable? Not sure.
But the thing is, this second one is the what is this? The Rode SC19.
SC19 is the C to Lightning.
Okay, so that's not it. This is USB-C to USB-C.
Okay, so C to C. So I'm interested to know specifically what that is. And if you have, I'm sure you do, laying around somewhere like a Thunderbolt, like a proper Thunderbolt cable where it can actually, the ones that either, from Apple, or you get a certain, like a CalDigit or whatever hub that actually is a Thunderbolt cable. I wonder if that would be considered sufficient
Yeah,
for
I'll
test
test
data.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or any sort of data cable, if it is a USB-C for, say, a computer hard drive, would that mean that's sufficient? I'm interested in finding out. I'm so glad you get to test it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, the other thing.
Hey, hold that thought. I want to quickly say Rob is here with us. He's watching. Rob says, so it seems that while you were online last hour, I was online buying the very same stuff on Amazon. Wait, what stuff? The RØDECaster video or the lighting that I was showing you guys? And he says hi to everybody.
Hey, Rob.
Hello.
All
right. Okay. Go back to what you were gonna show us on the RØDECaster video.
Okay, so we did find out. Well, I found out how to do these presets from the RØDECaster.
Oh, so they have various different picture-in-picture, including something that's more than picture-in-picture. They call it more, which is like a different type of layout.
Yes.
Okay.
So
and then once you select it, you can assign which video source to go to which.
Yes. The only thing is, for the background, I can't find a way to input a background.
I think that is considered as a custom layout, which require you to do it on your Rode Central.
No, because the custom layouts is a different kind of different beast. Let me show on the computer. Okay, so let's go to the scene builder. We can cancel that, and we can choose a scene. We can do template, and these are all the other things that you see from the RØDECaster. So you see, there's all of these things. You can choose the input. So for instance, let me choose camera 1, and then input 2 will be camera 2. But the background, I can choose media, because the media pool would be like a SD card full of like moving backgrounds and etc. But I didn't find a way to do it from the RØDECaster.
Maybe because you don't have anything in your media library. Right. I thought it could be could it be a camera also? Could it be a camera source?
It can be a camera, yeah. It can be a camera, because if I do that, it can be. But you can't select that from the RØDECaster. But I mean, at that point, you might as well use your computer.
Right. Because you need a computer to run the stream anyway. Well, I guess not. Yeah. You don't have to, because you can set up the stream directly from the RØDECaster and have the RTMP information set up, and then not having to use a computer.
Yes.
That is something yet to find out. Yeah, let's see if you can. Maybe you could. Maybe that it's hidden somewhere in the. Remember how it was also not very intuitive that you could go to the other scene. So maybe it's hidden somewhere in there since you can do it here.
And the other cool thing is if you click on custom, you can also
resize. This is very
resize.
eCam. This is when I saw this, I was like, this is like how a software switcher would be able to do for a wand. And it's great that they are kind of tying it to a computer interface so that you can still do that and be able to immediately send that over to your hardware switcher.
Yes. So that part is very good. But I said to myself, I wouldn't use this, because even if I was keeping this, I wouldn't use this because I already use eCam. And with eCam, you can do a whole bunch of different shapes and etc.
Right.
And it's just much easier.
I guess it depends on how many video feeds somebody's normal everyday stream that they do. If they constantly have like 4 or 5 cameras, maybe that might take some of the load off of the computer processing if you have a hardware switcher.
Yes, for the hardware switcher will definitely help, but it will take a lot of preparation before any.
There's no like eCam where something happened, I'm gonna build a new scene immediately.
Correct.
In fact, I heard
on the fly.
Yeah, I actually heard today when I was what was I think I was talking to, I was watching a stream, and it was, I think this last weekend's, I forgot what the show is called. It's one of the eCam shows where they were talking to Kat, and they were talking precisely about how it is offloading some of the processing power because Kat has the same hard computer as me, which is an M1 MacBook Pro, and she does see how when she utilizes all the camera switching on a piece of hardware, it's lightening up the processing on the computer. But then it is not as flexible as using eCam to quickly build up a scene. Oh, I see Ernesto is joining us too now. Ernesto.
Can I just add?
Yes.
Prior to me just doing live streaming like this on my desktop using OBS or eCam or whatever, what happened is that I got into some sort of a consultation where people were trying to implement a live setup in, say, a church or so. And, being at church, there are a lot of people that's like volunteers that's going to be operating all these equipment, and they are not always technical. And having eCam, as much as it's very fluid, you can change things on the fly and whatever. It also has a lot of buttons, and people are just afraid of buttons. And having a RØDECaster video like this, you're saying that, scene 1 is this. Once you actually fix everything in, once you set it up, anybody can actually man the console and actually
That's a good point.
Produce a live stream. So that actually helped a lot when you have something like that baked in, because we try to implement OBS and we try to teach them how to use it, and
it's too complicated.
Plus,
it's just you can accidentally hit something easily. Even if you lock stuff down in eCam, sometimes you could accidentally do something because all the software is there. And I think what John's saying is when you have that video, RØDECaster video, once it's configured, it's just those buttons that you are just going to use those buttons. If you're not experienced at all, you're just going to hit 1 when you're for this camera, hit 2 for that other camera. And all you do is just switching back and forth. So
so that's the use case. Instead of just like, it does take the load off from eCam and processing power of the computer, but a lot of people just use it as a dummy kind of machine where things just work.
Yeah. So Ernesto, welcome.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you and see you. Did rebooting your A10 Mini help or no? What did you do?
Well, I did unplug the HDMIs. I turned off the A10. I went to the back and I plugged the USB-C to a faster USB-C. I thought maybe that was the case. In the back of my PC, there's like 2 different ones, 10 gigabytes, and then one's different gigabytes. So I just swapped the cables, right, and then it just picked it up.
Yeah.
But last year I did use Cam to record my son's football game off of my Mac M1 laptop, and it was super easy. Um, uh, it does take some time to set up. At first, it can be a little bit overwhelming just because there's a lot of different options. But with Canva, I was able to create some overlays, and I did a little bit of research on that, and I was able to put it up there during my son's football games, and it was just easy. I was actually recording as well as streaming, and it's easy that it just goes from Ecamm straight to YouTube, where you don't have to go open up another window or anything. It just from Ecamm, it'll just go straight to YouTube or other places depending on your internet, of course. But I was only able to stream to one place, which was YouTube, and
because you're using your phone.
It was nice. So my laptop was using my phone as a hotspot, and then I was just using my Sony A7 IV to stream from the middle of the field here in Buckeye, which we don't have a lot of reception. So yeah, so it's hard if you don't have a working cell phone. But Verizon works for us, which it didn't yesterday, but that's a different story. But yeah, it's Ecamm is very useful. Right now, the reason I changed to vMix was because I'm working off of a PC and Ecamm does not. If not, I would be Ecamm right now.
Okay, so yeah, let's see if you have any additional thought to add to the RØDECaster video, and then I think next we could switch into talking a little bit about Lorianne's just like streaming in general for those of us who actually do stream. And then maybe I'll come back to Ernesto then talking about, we were going to set up your microphones for your RØDECaster. We could still talk about that. And I think you're also curious about Ecamm. So we'll see how far we can go. But I think let's go with that and see if we any additional thoughts that John IT might want to add to his experience so far with the RØDECaster video. And then after that, we'll go to Lorianne.
For me personally, I wouldn't use it, especially in my setups, because, for instance, let me start with the good. Yeah. This is a great all-in-one, not great, good all-in-one device. It's great when it comes to sound because it's just a RØDECaster Duo. The video, a little bit of the quirks, some of the quirks can be ironed out probably with some updates to make it a bit more fluid and intuitive. And it is very good for someone who is doing like a 2-person podcast, and there's one producer. You would just have to spend some time and set up all your scenes before and assign them, and you just got to press buttons back and forth. Right. And there's also the auto feature, but that might be annoying to some people because it's kind of like Zoom when someone
like the active speaker.
Yes. You can set that up and choose priority and etc. It can be a little finicky and go back and forth too much, but you can
fine tune it, I guess.
Yeah. But for me, with my setup, I will continue to use the ATEM. The reason being, I just use ATEM for a video switcher. All of the lower thirds and etc. Someone else from a separate computer will be using something like ProPresenter. And ProPresenter, you would key in like the lower thirds, and that's how you would see words on the bottom. If it's like a house of worship and they're singing along with lyrics, that's not the person that's doing the video switcher. That's someone else doing ProPresenter. And when they switch it to be big inside of the room, it would show up as lower thirds on the online stream. And that's something less that the video person has to do. So the thing about video production is that you don't want one person doing everything. The reason being, if something goes down with that one point of failure, everything goes down. So you have separate people doing separate things, and they come together to make a great production.
Except you're doing what I'm doing right now. I'm doing everything. But I'm not professional. I'm not professional. I'm not. No companies pay me to do this. I'm doing this myself. So I'm holding all the responsibilities on myself. Okay, but thanks, John, for testing it. If you are able, I don't know what is the return period, but if you can have an extensive, more like additional days of testing it, maybe you can come back and share with us some more of what your new findings might be. Yeah, down the road.
I think I have like
30 days,
25 days.
25 days. Okay,
more.
At least another week of full. I think a full 2-week usage, if you get to use it every day a little bit, or maybe even 1 week, would probably give you find out more of some of the quirks of the thing, and give us even more. I think you've already given us a lot more. I think a lot of people, I've discovered it through some of the videos that I've watched online, but I don't think it is apparent to a lot of people about that 2 separate USB feed going to your computer from the RØDECaster video. And thanks for pointing that out today. Okay, so now I'm going to hop on to Clubhouse and check in with people there. There's a few people joining us from the reason why this is perfect. My head is looking on the stream, my head is looking at my friends over on Clubhouse, but it's also the same direction where I'm looking at on the camera. So I configure it correctly. So I see Lorian with us on stage, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Ustream. We see Lawrence here, Alan is here, Brandon's also here. We have Cindy Lou and also Joule. Did I pronounce it correctly? Lorian, help me.
Yeah,
Joule?
that's good, Joule.
Joule, okay. So welcome. And Joule, I saw your hand raised up too. I brought you on. Maybe it was an accident. But anyway, welcome you all in Clubhouse as well. I'm also live streaming. If you're new to this room, I have been live streaming. You all know this room. Soundcheck's been here for a long time, for almost 4 years. But we are also live streaming this on YouTube. And if you want to follow along with some of the speakers that you heard but didn't realize, where are they on Clubhouse? They're actually on Zoom with me. We have John IT, we have Ernesto, and we have John Lowe in Zoom talking with us. So if you want to in the future participate in this show, all you need to do is go to the website, learner2learner.com, which I need to put the ticker right now. So if you go to the website, there is a button for you to click where you can join. You can actually join the show by calling in with a Zoom link. So that time you can then actually be part of the show and be on the stream as well. Joule's now on stage with us on Clubhouse. Hello, Joule.
Hi, friends. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yes. Oh, we can hear your environment too.
Right.
Okay. Well, I'm in complexity,
Mm-hmm.
but some things are working, so that's good news. First of all, haven't been on Clubhouse for a while, taken quite a bit of a break, but I just met with my friend and yours, Sean Savage, last week, and he helped me connect using Club Deck, which I also hadn't used for a while, and I'm using now, and it's like, gosh, the print's so small, so I'm realizing that's why I couldn't.
You are all seeing it on. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're seeing your screen that you're watching it on the right. That is the interface of Stream Deck, which you can read up there. So yeah, they're seeing what you're describing also, Joule.
Yeah, so I'm on Club Deck, and I'm also using loopback audio and on Zoom, which is a test room. And so we created a test room for tonight, which was going to be just my buddy Brandon Blake, who's below, and myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then our friend Lawrence popped into the room because I made it a public room apparently. And then lovely Lawrence was coaching Brandon. And then Lawrence said, oh, John Ong's room is right now, we should go. And so then we partied over here. So that is how I'm here.
Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I can tell you all the gear that I have, and things seem to be working, but I don't have anybody in Zoom, but I realize I should have had a tester in Zoom and on Clubhouse, but I am recording it to see what it sounds like.
Now, yeah. And if you want to join us on Zoom as well and let us hear it after Clubhouse tests, you can just hop off of Clubhouse And then
Are you in a Zoom right now?
I'm also
too?
on the Zoom
Oh,
because what we're doing is like some of my guests are connected through Zoom. So if
wait.
you
So could I join your Zoom, or do I have to be on my Zoom to test
you
this?
should be able to join my Zoom because the setup will be the same.
Ooh.
Right. So
Okay.
I'm going to give you my the web address where the link to I'm just going to put it in the Clubhouse chat. It's
Okay.
learnertolearner.com. And when you go
Amazing.
there, there is a call in with Zoom button. When you click
Okay.
on that, it will automatically launch your Zoom app to call into the show. And then I'll have to add that to you. The only thing that you have to remember is to probably turn on your musician
mode.
musician mode, turn
Yeah,
that
but
on.
now should I be okay? So theoretically, with loopback, it should work the same way that I'd be in both places at the same time.
Yeah, well, yes, it should, but because I am now also on both Clubhouse and Zoom, you can't be doing that because then I'll be getting both sides of the feed and I'll get confused.
Right. So as long as I configure it the same
Yeah,
way.
well, if you can
before
start
do
with the
that, let me
Clubhouse.
just explain what I have
Okay,
and
yeah.
what my friend Brandon has, and then you'll have the full
Sounds good.
thing. But basically, we're connecting. We're just trying to make sure that the sound works on the right levels and everything, so that we can do an event tomorrow night. So I am on a Mackie FX Pro 16-channel mixer.
Okay.
And I've got various mics on my instruments, contact mics, as well as a vocal mic and a stereo headphones overhead. So my system is going into Club Deck and into Zoom, and on Club Deck my output is the FX Pro, and my input is the Club Deck input, and we're in music mode. And then in Zoom, what we have is my input is still the Pro FX, and then the mic is called Zoom input, which is a special thing that we made on
Loopback. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm speaking your language, but I can only credit Sean. I could not have figured this out myself. So then my buddy Brandon, who's in the audience, who hopefully will come up here too, he's just on his phone. He and so we were trying to play with getting the levels right so that he can both play music and
Together?
speak. Not necessarily together, like we kind of speak back and forth banter, but usually only one person at a time plays music.
Okay.
But I wanted to get the levels in Zoom so that they can hear him. And so I just wanted to ask a question about the Zoom side. His sound would be coming through my Zoom mic.
Okay.
But if I mute myself in Club Deck, you're only hearing Brandon, right? Not my other mic, or are you still hearing my other mic? All the things that are coming through. I guess you would hear my other mic on Zoom, right? So I have to just be really quiet.
If you can mute your own mic on the Mackie mixer.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
So physically mute.
Yes.
But then keep my microphone, because my microphone is where his sound from Clubhouse is coming through to the Zoom.
Correct.
Am I
yes.
understanding that correctly?
Yes. Because
Great, 'cause the other thing
your
that I
feed
get
you're
confused-
taking Clubhouse sound and feed that into Zoom, right?
Right.
Okay.
So the other thing I get confused about is on the Mackie board, there's this wonderful input blend where it controls what goes to my headphones, so I can control whether it's all him, all me, or both. But that's just my monitoring. Is that
Just
correct?
yes, what you're hearing, correct.
So that's tricky because I feel like I'm adjusting it for everybody, but I'm not. I'm just
No, you're
adjusting it
correct.
for myself.
Can I just ask a quick question, clarifying question?
Sure,
Dawn?
Laurie.
Yeah.
So, Joule, am I understanding correctly? You like the Clubhouse audio, and you want to use the Clubhouse audio through Zoom. So you want to broadcast the video stream from Zoom, but use Clubhouse audio. Did I get that right?
No, we have people join. So we've had a Clubhouse room since 2021, and we have some longtime people like our friend Lawrence, who popped in today, who like us on Clubhouse. Also, Brandon has hosted this room, and he really loves social audio, the ease of it, that there can't be a camera that comes on accidentally. And so we wanted to kind of keep the tradition of Clubhouse, but We also have a bigger audience that join our Zooms for our other meetups. And so we were going to try to combine
merge the two
so that people could join on their preferred platform. That is they're listening and interacting on whatever side they're on. And actually on the Zoom, what I was going to do is just put up so it's called the Kalimba Campfire. It's a virtual campfire where we play intuitive instruments. Like kalimbas, and this is a monochord in front of me. And so I was thinking what I would do on the Zoom is just put up a picture of a campfire and have it still be social audio, but through Zoom. So we're not really worried about the picture, but we're still like a social interactive experience. That is.
And is that because they don't want to come into Clubhouse, that you have one audience in Zoom and one in?
Yeah, we've for many years have had this Clubhouse room, and we find that people from our mailing list don't want to join Clubhouse. Like, they're Clubhouse people, like you all.
Yes, I agree. I mean, I agree that pain point that switching platforms sometimes is a little bit challenging.
Yeah, and also just the opt-in factor, because we're supported by an instrument company, and so sending things to their mailing list and then getting opt-ins, and it's a little bit. It's good to have the Zoom interface, webinar interface, where we can collect emails as more of like a marketing thing. But we actually personally just love Clubhouse because we like it. so it's like, could we keep kind of the OG feeling with Clubhouse, but then still do something on Zoom? That is the experiment that we're doing this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. And Brandon, hello, Brandon. It's been a long time,
Hi,
Brandon.
Brandon. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks, John. I am going to be hosting that room tomorrow, like she said, and I was trying to just be able to do it where I can do it through my microphone on my phone, just because I really was trying to have an easy setup, but apparently they said it didn't sound as good as it normally does.
And you're playing your I forgot which instrument you
Yeah,
kalimba?
kalimba, sansula. I've got all sorts of little instruments. Yeah.
And did you check
It started
on?
to sound better though, but the last time I kind of liked it, the way that it
Great.
sounded. So.
And I'm happy to play for a second here, John. So you
Sure. Did you have music mode on the last time you played on your phone?
No, I'm on high, so music mode would not be right. I was on high.
Okay. So, and and tell me what you have an iPhone, I believe.
Yes.
Because so iPhone. Let's hear. Did you get any feedback specifically about not as good, like as in more, like giving more information?
Lawrence was noticing that it didn't sound as loud as it typically does, and it didn't sound as clear or something like that. So.
Okay. So maybe what I would do is have you play it on. Well, here's the thing. If typically when you play, if you have music mode turned on, on Clubhouse, it will. Usually when you play, does the room talk? Or is it just you playing?
No, it's just me playing.
Okay, so maybe then we can try you playing a little bit with the high setting and then switch over to music and see if it makes a difference. Well, the only difference is the stereo, and actually iPhones does have a pretty decent pair of stereo microphones, so maybe that might sound better. So we can give it a try. Test it in high and then play a little bit and then test it in stereo. In music mode.
All right. Well, I am currently now in high, so tell me how it sounds.
Level is a little low, so not as loud.
Yeah. And I have it as close as I can bring it to the instrument. So let's try it on music mode. But I don't know if that's going to help.
I don't know if it's going to help, but go ahead and try it.
I don't think.
We hear your environment a little bit more. I should not speak because when you play, nobody is speaking. Okay, I'm going to mute myself. I think it sounds better. Okay, let's switch back to high so that I don't hear myself slap back. I think it sounded better. because not only
On
am I
high?
hearing it in stereo, no, in music mode.
Much better.
Much better, right? So we have
And this
other
is
people.
high.
But John, like having that echo is really annoying because we do talk a lot back and forth.
That's why I asked that. So when if he
I'm
does,
not hearing any echo.
you do not hear it. It's we hear it, which is why it's annoying for us.
Oh, you're hearing an echo.
We are
of
hearing
everything?
ourselves coming back through when it's music mode, it takes all the echo cancellation off.
Oh,
But
I see.
it
Yeah, it
makes
can
your
only be if you have
instrument sound
headphones on,
better.
Brandon.
Okay,
Music
so
mode. Yeah.
so Joule, what if I'm on mute? Does that work?
No, you can't be on music mode unless you're with your mixer and your headphones.
I thought John was just saying that.
You can't as it's not convenient, but so what you can do is
No, but you know, I mean, the nature of this room is it's fun, it's banter, it's back and forth. We
There you
can't
go.
have them switching back and forth between
That's true.
modes. It's not going to work.
That's fair.
so yeah. But technically, I was gonna say it depends on how you want to use it. Technically, yes, it can. If that's why I asked, are you gonna talk or are you just gonna perform? Because if you're just gonna perform, it is better but just based on the sound. I'm
But
telling
wasn't
you,
really
it
that
sounds
much louder,
better.
though. It was still the same kind of level.
It's louder. I have to look at my meter. It is louder.
Okay, it's a little bit louder.
It's louder, and it's not as loud as you probably want it to be, but it's louder than when it was on high mode, and it's also in stereo. And it's kind of playful to actually hear that it changes in my ears. Should I admit you, Joule? Should I?
It's very.
Yes, can you?
Okay. Yes.
It's very spacious.
Yeah, it's very
on
spacious.
music
Yeah, you
mode.
can feel the room. And plus, Joule, if you want, when you start popping into Zoom, if you would mute your Clubhouse.
Clubhouse?
So yeah, okay, I'm gonna admit you there. Okay, I'm adding Joule to Zoom call and assign her a camera.
Hey.
Oh, okay, I'm hearing the echo. Okay, now I'm not sure where it's. Oh, yeah, it's probably better if you leave. It's easier if you leave Clubhouse on your end so that because your signal, how you set it up, your signal is now, we're creating a loop now. Because you're in both rooms. Are you gonna be in both rooms? She's gonna be in both rooms anyway. But I am also in that room. But you have an audience. I'm actually your audience that is also in both platforms. When you are doing it, you're not going to have that issue. Because you're not gonna have people participating in both platforms.
Can you hear me in Zoom? Oh, it's still
You have let's see, where is that coming from? Is it
I have to be the host.
No, that's loopback. Do you have loopback on?
Yeah, she has loopback that is going. Okay, let me see. When is her slapback directly from her system? It's very fast, so it sounds like it's probably loopback causing that.
Yeah.
Now she left. Oh no, you're still in Clubhouse. You need to leave the room so to not have the issue.
Okay. And then come back, 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 and then come back.
You have to leave your Clubhouse and just stay in Zoom, and then you shouldn't have that issue because your voice is coming through my through Clubhouse through Zoom that goes into your Clubhouse, and your Clubhouse has been picked up by your Zoom, so it's creating a loop. So if you are able to leave Clubhouse entirely, okay, I just saw you popped out.
Okay.
And now you should not have any issue.
Right. So, but we can't actually test this because the whole point is that I want to be in both rooms together.
But that's why I said, have you tested one at a time, not at the same time? If you wanted to test the sound quality, but not the routing you would have to do it on your own room. But if you want to test how it sounds.
No, it's the routing. The sound quality I know is good.
Okay. Then
I can hop in and say, hey.
Wait, let me put you on camera so people can see you.
Or anything, but
there you go. Yay!
I'm in the cozy. I have theatrical lights, but I was.
But I would like to hear now that you are here. If you would,
okay,
have you turned your musician's mode on?
No, I haven't yet. Let me.
There you go.
Okay.
Now I'm hearing
There
it.
we go. And let me just make sure. Okay, so I gotta get my.
And Jewel and John, I have a hard stop at 8. I've been waiting to figure this out,
Okay.
which is actually why Jewel brought me here, because I'm performing tomorrow
Yeah.
night. So
I can
I need to
play
make
a
sure I get
couple
my.
notes, but I actually don't need a sound test. I think I'm happy with my sound. I hope you are too. Doobie doobie doo. These are meditative monochords. So
Cool.
yeah, if we could maybe go back to Brandon though.
But
that would be great.
I think we have didn't we come up with a solution? I mean, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be, why don't you try this, Brandon? Can you switch to, what is that? Like the standard mode?
Can Brandon hear me?
Yes, he can.
Zoom?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, that's cool. So then we get to test that this actually works in theory.
Do you want to
right?
play so that see if she's hearing?
Yeah, can you play both versions? I just don't hear that much of a difference, and I think that it's not worth it.
All right, I'm in high mode right now.
Okay.
How's that, Jewel?
I mean, it's lovely. It's just very, very quiet, and I'm listening now through the Zoom side, so I think our Zoom people won't be able to hear it.
But if you play in musician mode, you'll hear a big difference.
Okay, can you play in musician mode, and we'll see. Okay, yeah, that is quite a bit different.
We do hear the difference. But you do have to switch back.
Yeah, it's interesting. I hear the difference in Zoom. In Clubhouse, there was very little difference between those two modes.
So
Yeah, Zoom
basically,
is massive.
when I'm not playing, I need to have myself in high mode, and then when I am playing, I need to have it in music mode, right?
Yeah.
That's the workaround. That's a bit cumbersome, but that would be the workaround. So it's almost like, okay, I'm getting ready to play. I'm gonna switch to music mode, and then when I'm done playing, immediately the people need to not talk when they start talking. While you're playing or before you switch back, it's going to give that same slap back.
Yeah, I don't think people are going to be talking over me, so I'm not worried about that.
So that would be the workaround for now. That would still work. And I think I have an explanation for Joule as to why she's not hearing it. Were you hearing the room Clubhouse through Club Deck earlier?
Yes.
So there is a unreliable potential issue with Club Deck that is sometimes you don't hear things in stereo. Mm-hmm. So and I also at the same time, you could potentially also not be sending stereo signal out to the room. So the workaround so far that I've tested that worked is just to go to your Club Deck sources, input, switch to a different source, like a toggle, like a trigger it, like toggle it to something else, toggle it back, it will come back. Both input and output to hear and to send out stereo signal. It's a little bit of kind of sometimes unreliable. So I don't use, in fact, when you see Club Deck showing up, I'm only showing the visual. I still use my iPhone Club Deck, a Clubhouse app to do any sort of audio testing because I can hear accurately through the native app, but not through Club Deck.
So it's still glitchy, Sean.
Glitchy, yeah. It's still glitchy. That's why Sean does not like it. If possible,
I used it
he tries.
years ago, and I'm like, really? Club Deck works now? He's like, oh yeah.
It works, but not reliably. So the one thing
Okay.
that I find I cannot reliably depend on Clubhouse because a club deck, because I can't do sound check for people because I don't know if I'm hearing them accurately stereo or not. Because I think you were not hearing the change between the music mode from Brandon and the high mode from Brandon. So I know he has a hard stop. 5 more minutes. So anything else you want to test while you're here?
Though, because now I know what I'm hearing and what I'm not hearing.
Okay.
And with that little switcheroo, would you recommend then hopping in the, like if I open a room, just switching those back and forth just to do it like a clean switch?
Like a toggle, do the input, switch to something else, and then switch back to what you want it to be.
What you want it to be.
Yeah.
Like every time, just as a...
Run another test with Lawrence and Brandon, obviously, if you can, in the setup that you would like. Because right now you're splitting your test halfway, right? You're doing partially,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
So-
Because obviously I need to be the host for the Zoom thing to be split.
Right.
And I need somebody.
Then you have two separate audience, one in Zoom and one in Clubhouse to
Okay.
test it out for you.
Great. Well, we'll see if we can do that tomorrow night. But this was so helpful, and I
sure,
forgot
of
about
course.
you guys, and I've missed you. And like, hi, we're back.
It's so good to see you. So good to
thank you for your
actually see you.
Yeah. Well,
Thank
it
you,
was kind
John.
of fun.
Thank you, Brendan.
Wait, hang on. I just wanted to say because we didn't have time to do it today, but I was trying to see if you could help me reset up my mixer so I could get the other microphones involved, which would sound better, but I can't do that.
Yeah.
Next round.
You can
How often do you do
What?
this room, John? Do you do it once a week or?
I do it once a week, every Tuesday.
Once a week, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
All right, Joule,
hop back
remind me.
next
We'll do it again.
time.
Cool. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
John.
Thank you all. Thank you. And thanks for sharing all the
you.
cool, fun stuff that you guys do as musicians.
Yeah. I'll put this on my calendar. I'll hop back in. Just to
Sure,
support. It's
sure.
a very, very
Thank
cool
you,
service.
John.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Brendan. Good luck. Have fun.
Bye.
At least we know there's like a sort of workaround that we can sort of make it happen.
It was very helpful.
All right. And now go back to Lorianne. And thanks, John. And thanks everybody who's like kind of lending your ears, which is why I think I like doing this room this way, is because you're not only relying on my ears, you have like a second pair, third, fourth pair of ears to confirm what I'm hearing, right? And then so it's not like just like, objective from one person, like, oh, I think this is better. I always bounce ideas off of whoever can hear, and it makes sense why she couldn't hear it, because of that bug that is in Club Deck, that sometimes the sound does not reflect the switched audio modes that is in Clubhouse. Okay, so Lorianne, let's back to you and see if maybe tell us what you think you might be, what is making you interested in thinking about maybe doing something beyond Clubhouse, and maybe live streaming on platforms like YouTube, for instance?
Yeah, thanks, John. Well, it's been something I've been contemplating for a while, which is where with Clubhouse shrinking, it seems. And I love my Clubhouse experience, and I'm out here in real life right now in the music industry and doing lots of stuff, but I feel like there's still really something maybe even better for me in the digital realm. Like, I'm not sure that, like, there's so much work that goes into these big productions and money and all these elements that cause me to think there's got to be a better way for musicians to get out in the world and maybe even be supported for their work and have a global community. And what I learned from Clubhouse is like networking a community, like real communities, like that's been really gratifying for me. And so your conversation last week touched on several of those important points for me. You spoke about discoverability in YouTube, that you're moving, what you do on Clubhouse and other places into YouTube because there is this opportunity for discoverability that's not present in Clubhouse. And then you mentioned also how you don't mind growing slowly because really organic growth and real genuine community people really love what you're doing is really what matters to you, and I could relate to that too. And I'm also interested in technology as the way forward. I mean, I know that sort of sounds like number one repeated in a different way, but I think it is different because um, I don't see tech as an adversary, but as this amazing place to, innovate, and especially with what's happening these days, how connected we are. That part really interests me too. Now, the challenge I have is I'm not used to being on video. I really loved Clubhouse for the ease of, of course, it wasn't easy at the beginning. I remind myself I had to learn a lot of tech, and we all together developed the audio quality that we now enjoy. So wherever I am, I really need to have that audio quality. And then here you are using Clubhouse and broadcasting into YouTube. So it brings up one of those first questions, which is that where the audio is coming from is through Clubhouse? But back to what I was just saying, I'm not used to being on video. Sure, Ecamm looks great. I was just looking at it, and I love they have all these kind of ways you can make your set look really good. And that's a really fundamental part of having video is it's got to be as high a quality as our sound quality became on Clubhouse, in my opinion. And so so then I think, okay, maybe that's the way forward, getting a community, having subscriptions, and bailing on the music industry. I mean, I've been a long time in the music industry in real life, so to speak. And I suppose there'll always be some aspect of that. But I wonder if the frontier is like the metaverse and YouTube, because you say like 4 billion people, there's all this discoverability. It's also really, really populated and a lot of competition for eyeballs. But when you're really just looking for your people, maybe that doesn't matter. So I hope I've given you some
Mm-hmm.
background. I've downloaded Ecamm now, and maybe what do you think about what I've shared so far, and reflect back to me what you think.
Yeah. So I think if you are able to, I'm going to ask those who are actually like John. I think in the industry video, and John IT. Do you live stream your client on YouTube, or is it mostly like professional event that it goes somewhere else?
It depends. Sometimes it's a Zoom meeting. Sometimes it's YouTube. So it depends on where they want to send it.
And maybe as somebody who's does video professionally, Lorianne, I don't think you were here. Oh no, you were here last week, weren't you? Did you get to hear about what Lorianne, is interested in doing? She's a professional musician. She's a pianist, and she has CDs out, and she's thinking about doing her either live streaming it or she has posted videos, but live streaming some of her own music on YouTube. Any thoughts, you and anybody
Yeah, I
else?
want to perform live.
Yeah.
I think
that's I would, if you do it regularly, like for instance, I know my channel is tiny, and the reason why you said that I don't mind growing slowly is because I didn't push anything other than my existing Clubhouse friends. Now you're looking on screen. In fact, 2/3 are new friends that I found after I live stream on YouTube. John Lowe I found on Clubhouse, but John IT and Ernesto are all my YouTube connection. So I think you can definitely find your crowd there. But now I'm gonna leave it to John IT, John Lowe, or Ernesto, and see what do you think musician like Lorianne could benefit from playing live on YouTube.
Well, yeah, YouTube just is a different audience. The discoverability is good. I won't say as soon as you play on YouTube you'll get like 1 million subscribers and all eyes will be on you. It takes time, but if you're consistent, that's when you'll start to gain a fan base. There's also places like Twitch as well. And if you're using things like Ecamm, you can multi-stream to YouTube and Twitch to pick up audiences on both platforms.
Yeah, Twitch doesn't, I've hung out in there a bit. It just doesn't seem to be my vibe. So I don't think we need to include Twitch. It just seemed,
Or at least not yet. Keep an open mind, because you might not have, you may have found like the majority of the Twitch folks, but maybe not found your people in Twitch.
There's different audiences on Twitch.
Not to my audience there. Yeah. And I wasn't there very long. That's correct. Okay. Thank you.
But keep that in mind. The good thing is if you do use Ecamm, it is as simple as having a good internet and then simul stream it over to both places, YouTube and Twitch. So it's not additional work for you. And John,
John here. Yeah, I was wondering, are you in North America?
Canada.
Yeah, Canada.
In Canada. Is Canada planning on banning TikTok as well?
No, there's no conversation about TikTok in that regard.
Okay, so TikTok is pretty common in Canada, I reckon.
Yeah, it is. I'd say there's 80% of the people, 75% of the people know about TikTok.
Okay, because from experience of actually looking how TikTok is, discoverability, they're a lot more generous right now in terms of like getting eyeballs, in terms of like the algorithm favors more towards the creator right now. Okay, so this is possibly a possible.
You saying?
Yeah, you say
on TikTok? Sorry,
on TikTok.
TikTok.
Okay, continue. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, this is possibly one of the many ways you can have a growth in terms of like doing your music on TikTok, right? When you create an account, what TikTok allows you to do is to post videos, being a 30 seconds, 50 seconds, 1 minute, I mean, any length of video vertically on TikTok, right? And you possibly would not have many viewers, but if you were to do it enough, and suddenly you'll be recommended on people's feed. All right. And even if that's not enough of a audience, what happens is that then TikTok will enable you to go live. Right. And I'm not sure if you're using iPhone, you have an iPad with you.
And I'm on TikTok and I'm on
You're
Instagram.
on TikTok.
I am on
TikTok. So can you do live already on TikTok?
No, I apparently you have to have
1,000 followers.
Oh, I heard.
Yeah, apparently so, right?
400.
But TikTok is a little bit more generous than that. It is really like out of the blue, suddenly you see, even I myself got like 100 over subscribers only or followers, but they already enabled me to go live.
Yeah, one of my accounts is too. If you do it
because
consistently, Lorianne.
But I do. I post consistently. I have close to 400 and there's no opportunity to
keep doing it. I mean, 1,000 is the number, but if your interaction, if you have been, I don't know what their algorithm or whatever the calculation is, but one of my accounts that is under 400 followers, I just was able to do live a few weeks ago.
And do they tell you that you can do live? Like
what you do is, when you tap on like adding video, if you can scroll through the multiple options. One of them, the live option, would show up on the right hand side as you scroll through. And that's when you know that you can. And also, usually that sort of go live ability also require you to fulfill a few things. Like, I need to get full access to live streaming after 3 30-minute separate day live streams. If you do that, then it will open up your audience to more than just your followers.
John, can you say that again? I'm sorry, because I was trying to see if I actually just.
I'm gonna say that, and then I'm gonna turn the conversation around and go back to just video and YouTube a little bit more, so that we don't go too far off of the topic. And I think Jason also has something to say with TikTok because he's on there. But so recapping what I was gonna say, hopefully that will clarify some things for you, Lorianne, is that I'm saying if when you go on TikTok, you can tap on the bottom button to create content, right? To upload a video, or I don't know what else the other options. Maybe Jason, you can unmic and mute and help me out. But when you scroll through to the push it to the left, you see some different options, and one of the options would be live when that's enabled. Is that what you're asking for clarification, Lorianne?
Yes, it was, John. I thought, well, maybe I had it and I just didn't notice that I had it. But
Maybe you can go in there and check it and see if you have it.
Yeah, you can check it right now.
Well,
So
I'm looking. Yeah. Go ahead.
So the conversation is like this, okay? So that's one part of life, right? Where you are given.
Sorry, I was just turning on my own TikTok.
Yeah. So when you can go live, what happened is that the next step of going live, this is what I found out about TikTok. Okay, so you don't even need 1,000 subscribers to be actually doing live per se, and if you're using an iPad, which or even an iPhone that has the USB-C, what happens is that you if you have any mixer that use the USB-C interface, like the RØDECaster Pro 2 and all, you could plug it in and have really good audio using your iPad,
which she can, because that's how she does it for Clubhouse. So she's already ready to do that.
So from there, yeah, you only have one camera, which is your iPad's camera. But eventually, what I do find out is that there is agency that operates on TikTok. TikTok sanctioned them, that they are live broadcasters. And what happened is that these people can issue stream keys to live people that goes live, right? And with the stream key, eventually you could then use eCam to actually broadcast live on TikTok. So that's the progression that I'm trying to actually tap onto myself. So I'm just sharing with you if TikTok is a better way of engaging a lot more users, because they are much more generous with the algorithm right now. You're being featured a lot more than, say, maybe YouTube. I mean, don't quote me. I think it is. It feels that way. YouTube and also Facebook.
Jason, what's your thought? You're on YouTube. I mean, you're on TikTok, I meant. Jason, you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'm on TikTok a lot. And okay, so there's a couple things. Lori, you've got to have a campaign in your social media, and you can't do it all yourself. Every social media has a different design spectrum, okay? And TikTok has a farther reach than YouTube does. People get spread on YouTube it's a shot in the dark, and you have to build. You have to build on shorts. You have to be very dynamic. You literally need, if you want to get really seen on YouTube, you have to hire someone who's a social media manager who understands all this, and can take your work and say, well, you want to film live, great. But because of what you do, it's really, you need to build a campaign of music TikToks, like a minute, 30 seconds scenery, even make some of your music can be the backgrounds for people to use in their TikToks. Like if I were to use something that you've played and it's off your album and I have permission to do that, and then I go say, make something really thoughtful, and yours is the background music, people, they find you and they seek you out. You have to know what and how distribution really works in the social media and digital spaces. And when you don't have a grasp of that, you're guessing, you're going to get a lot of advice from a lot of different people, and it's going to get confusing and frustrating. So you got to slow it down. And you may not have 400, maybe 500, but many people and their followers don't always transcribe to listeners and viewers. However, most of the people that now follow me are not people I know. They're based on, I go live at 6:30 a.m. according to PST, Pacific Standard Time. I go on at 6:30, I read 30 minutes I give a spectrum of whatever thoughts I was writing, and people just love hearing something motivational in the morning. So I found every day, Monday through Saturday, people come on at a certain time, and the algorithm pushes me to a lot of people. And I, on average, get about 400 to 1,000 people in a half hour's time. That's a lot. That's more than what Instagram will ever give you, or YouTube, organically. But you've got to understand what you're delivering to people, like the time, their mindsets. Like maybe right now is a good time for you to go live on TikTok or film a short, like a minute or 3 minute song that you've played, and it's being very scenic. People like to down tune towards classical music. So if I were to look up classical music on TikTok right now, piano, okay, what comes up? And that's where a key is. The people that do this, right? You're looking at people who are getting the most amount of views, 327,000 on one I just found right now. Hashtag classical, piano. What does this make you feel? Asked a question, just an overview of like someone playing the keys, not showing him, just shows a candle and the music. And he's got 327,000 views. Now, if I go into it and he's got 7,016 comments, 76,000 saves. So music has a place for you, but you've got to build it based on a series and a campaign of people to knowing your music. You've done albums, you've done things, and that's great. But everyone knows that if you want to you can't focus on viral. You just got to focus on the quality that someone's interested in what you have to provide in a story. So I don't have the biggest TikTok following. I really don't. But what I do have, I have 1,400 plus, and I have an average every day. I have at least 50 to 100 people looking at when I went live, and now they're looking at my old stuff. And I encourage engagement. I encourage questions. It's just that simple. So I'm hoping that this is going to help you, because of what you don't understand. Start finding people who really do understand, that work with your niche expertise and beautiful gift. You have a lot to provide, but you got to start asking the questions to the people that are doing the same or who can help you get there. So that's what I would tell you.
So I think that's valid, and especially I think we talk about a little bit about that, Lorianne, about how do you get your music when people, when you play your music, you don't get flagged that it's copyrighted music, that kind of stuff. Because I think John Lowe brought that up last week. That is something that you should probably look into. I don't have the knowledge, but maybe Sean, I have a feeling Sean would know how that works, and find somebody who has that expertise and talk a little bit more about that. So that would probably include what Jason was mentioning, is like a bigger campaign of how can you maximize your digital footprint, or the benefit that you can get from your social media with copyrighted material that you are putting out there. So not just only for discovery. And maybe there will be somebody who's like specializes in that. I think a lot of more of the newer publishing companies would also have strategies that's part of just CD launch. They would have, okay, what platform is to get your music into one of their, how do they partner with TikTok so that your music would be utilized for as part of their library, and then you will get paid certain amount of money. I know those are there.
I think it's covered. I think my distributors have that covered, John. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because it's all my own original music, so that it's not like there's any copyright, but it can be misunderstood if the distributor has.
Not only that, you want to get benefit when people play your music. Like so let's say if you're on TikTok, you have your music out there and people use your clip to do something. how are you compensated for that? Or and that those kind okay, so again, clarification, I am not an expert in that field, but maybe looking into some of that would also be wise. But backtracking to content creation, and I'm targeting the answer specifically to you, Lorianne, and not so much like a bigger strategy. It's good to hear like kind of like the overarching benefits that you can get from TikTok, from YouTube and everywhere else. But let's just talk about the very basic. You mentioned something about doing video is not something that you're used to, that you're comfortable with yet. And starting somewhere is better than nowhere because you have to get used to it. And so I would say find a platform that you feel okay to start with. Again, we talk about multiple places. We talk about Twitch. We talk about YouTube and all that. Find a place that you feel like you can start somewhere while you are acquiring more information about copyrights and all that, right? Get clarification on that on a separate thing, but then you actually have to put in the work to do the live streaming, the playing of your live performances. Maybe play 1 or 2 tracks every certain amount of time.
John, there is an avenue for it because she's an established artist, a musician. She can be expedited as verified, creator, or musician, and that's probably with her team of people that probably know that, and adding that onto her profile. Like, I just put a link in the YouTube chat where it shows the guy I was just telling you about, 779,000 followers, but his peak view was 9.2 million just for him playing on the piano. And I put the link of that TikToker playing classical music.
It's inside the Clubhouse chat.
The YouTube chat.
The YouTube link to the not YouTube chat. It's in the YouTube link inside Clubhouse
right now.
chat.
It's in there.
Fellow, I've done quite a bit of research in there. I know the fellow, and now that I see the name Ray-Ban Music, yeah, he's pretty.
I think Jason, you know how YouTube filters chats? It's not coming through on.
It's not.
YouTube,
maybe
because
not.
it's TikTok.
Okay.
It's a TikTok link. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, I tried to put it in the chat for here in Clubhouse, but it wouldn't let me. So I was like, oh.
But
okay,
John,
whatever.
I want to go back to what you're saying, if I could, because I think you're onto something there. Is I just need to get started somewhere, and I need the right equipment. I need some coaching on what makes it look best. Like, okay, Ecamm looks good. You can use these filters. I want to get set up with the right tech. I don't want to just go in hacking out. I want to start from a place of professionalism and being on brand. And that would give me confidence right there, knowing it sounds good and looks good. So I really am just at the beginning to even just I'm confident in my audio setup. Does it transfer to TikTok as simply as it does to Clubhouse? I don't know. I'd like to know that. Like, what does it sound like in there? What does it sound like in YouTube? What am I using am I going into my iPad and then am I using my phone as my camera? Like, I'd like to know those kind of tech questions too to even get started.
The ones I can answer you is YouTube would give you stereo. I mean, I'm kind of reading between the lines also, knowing you for several years, right? I know how important it is having a certain quality, audio quality, particularly for what you do. On TikTok, I don't believe it's stereo, but people do flock to live musicians. So that is where discoverability is powerful there, not so much audio quality. And they like to be able to interact with the musicians and when they play. And I myself is trying to do the same thing. I'm trying to sing there now more. So so there's that. Hopefully that is some clarification. I think finding one comfortable spot, one comfortable platform to start is probably a good solid plan while you're still doing other things.
Yes. And so I know the fellow, I can't remember the fellow who spoke about the pros and cons between YouTube and TikTok, and he landed on TikTok as being a better place. The algorithm
John Lowe, maybe John Lowe, yeah.
It was John Lowe, and saying that the algorithm supports the artist easier, better. in TikTok than YouTube. So right away my ears perked up. I
Mm-hmm.
just don't know if my audience is there. And then, Jason's affirming that, oh yeah, there's a space for
It is. And sometimes it feels, even on Twitch, right? You were talking about how Twitch is not your audience because all these platforms have algorithm. And if you're new to that platform, you're not seeing your people. You need to like hang out there for it to learn your habit and learn your group of people. Then the algorithm would start to feed you, just like Clubhouse. Clubhouse, there are so many more rooms in here that we're not seeing. So think of streaming your playing of piano as one thing. And then those destinations of where that particular performance is going to go to can come later. Does that make sense? It might be slightly different because there's what John Lowe was talking about, like the agency that would give you the stream key and do all that. That is, I don't know too much about it, and most people are not exposed to that. John, did you know more about like how do you get that stream key access?
So let me just break it down a little bit of the process of even that for Lorian in terms of going live, doing streaming and all before I get to the stream key part. Because I think with Lorian, there you were comfortable. You started off like doing clubhouse rooms and singing, and then
I don't
Play.
I
sing,
think
just play piano. I'm a
playing the
composer.
piano, and
I-
John Ong did the sound check and make your audio sounds good on Clubhouse and everything. So that's the first part of your streaming venture. Okay, now you want to go on video. Video is the same process in terms of like getting the visual that looks good. And a lot of times, I'll say 70-80% of how video look good is depending on all the lights that we have and then the camera that we are using, right? So that's a sort of like a sound check for video all by itself. Okay. And then you can look into what John is doing in terms of like switching from one camera view to another camera view, which is where Ecamm comes in. So these are some of the pathway in terms of getting the content production right and good. But this can also go pretty well in terms of like your stepping stone in going live in what you want to put it as priority, because using Ecamm will possibly be one of the last thing that you want to be confusing about when you're trying to get your audio right, your video right, and then after that the switching part, which coincidentally I'll say TikTok has that kind of progression. By the time you're ready to go on Ecamm, getting the stream key and all those kind of things, your audio is good, your video is good, and then you can then do your Ecamm switching, which I myself right now only learned that you can go on Ecamm using OBS. I'm sorry, you can go on TikTok using OBS, Ecamm, or any streaming software if you go through a certain agency that TikTok assigned. So this agency, what happened is that they host like many people that goes on live. And what happened is that then they apply from the agency, hey, we want to do live using streaming software. They'll give you the stream key from there. I'm in the process of actually getting on to one of it. It says that your account, you should be doing live already to so that TikTok, when they approve you, they are more generous with it, giving you the stream key and all. If your account, you're not doing live, you're not having engagement and everything, why am I giving you a stream key, right? So that's what the person that I was talking to on,
how do you even find that
live,
person, like the agency people?
randomly. He was just doing his TikTok live, very similar to your Soundcheck room, John. Very similar to RØDECaster. He was doing all this OBS setup. How do you actually do OBS setup on TikTok and all this kind of thing? And then I was starting to ask him about what he said. Oh, you got to apply through an agency. And then he said He operates that agency, and then he will be able to apply for me. So what I just
Is
click
it
on the link.
legit?
It
Now
sounds
I got
legit.
scared. Well,
No,
John's
the
gonna
thing
test
is
it
that
out for us.
I'll test it out for you. And I also read about this quite some time ago that I didn't really follow through because I didn't have someone to talk to. And then this dude, he's based in Malaysia. All you did is just just click on the button where you apply from him your TikTok handle, and that's about it. There's no other information that you're passing it on, and hopefully later on, if it's approved, then I get a stream key and then again go on TikTok using Ecamm
and
or
then
OBS.
what did they gain? What is their business model? Like how do they get paid? Why do they want to do this?
I don't know. That's the thing that I don't know.
So, but I'm curious to find out more if it is legit and what is the business model and how you can do that. And that's something that we can learn together. No pun intended.
Yeah. But to Lorianne is that I think this is a sort of like a pathway, because even on TikTok, right? So like I say, if you don't use Ecamm, you don't use any switches or whatever, having an iOS device like an iPad, because TikTok is on iPad, that's where you can download. What I did is connect my USB-C on it. I get good audio, mono, must I add, because it's TikTok, right? But you have one camera lens over there that you can use fairly okay. If you light it up properly, you'll get good enough kind of video. And then when you're tired of it later on, when you're ready to go on Ecamm, you know what you're doing already by then.
Yeah, that's a good point. And also, Lorianne, I also don't think now on YouTube, YouTube might be a little bit different, but on TikTok, people are not looking for the best video quality when it comes to live stream. And when people
then don't bother learning the Ecamm platform. Really, just
I would say don't yet. You want to learn to go live first. And here's if you ask me, this is what advice I'll give you, but you can make up your own decision. What I would say is, if you want to live stream, if you don't already have, I have had my cameras and my lighting for many years from my podcast. And so when I live stream to YouTube, I just turn it on. If I want to wait until I acquire equipment, learn how to use it, learn the proper way of setting it up, it will be a few months, if not like maybe even a year later. You don't want to wait that long to be doing that. You could do that while you're going live streaming, because it's a whole different game. You can it's a little bit like Clubhouse. So you can kind of sense what it's like already, because you can see the chats coming in, interacting with you that way. Let's just even pick one platform, YouTube. If you do it that way, now let me tell you, I have 4 people watching me right now, and I still do it. I don't care about it. But I think I have like 52 subscribers. I have like 60 something subscribers now this week, just from 1 week. So I don't really care. I'm not chasing after numbers, at least for now. I'm not chasing after numbers. You want to get the muscle memory of going live stream. When you go live stream, you learn how to get your audio set up, right? It's very similar to Clubhouse. You can go live stream on your YouTube account with just your iPhone, Lorianne, and have that, or your iPad.
We should start on TikTok. So let's say
let's just talk about live streaming. Don't talk about platform yet.
Okay, gotcha. I think you're absolutely right. I love what you're saying, John. It's so true that there is a progression, and that is the muscle memory. Like, it's all very nerve-wracking at the beginning because everything is new, but also one of the challenges I have, and I don't think anyone else has quite the same challenge, is I believe that what's interesting in a video to watch are my hands, but I need to have the iPad in front of me so I can see the comments and see who's coming. So how do you put how do I do one camera on the side? I would put it just on the keyboard, and then I'm eliminating one of the stress points, which is, you know, the rest of the visuals. It's easy to light the keyboard and my hands. And then I need to be looking at my iPad where all my audio is happening and where I see what's going on. So I'm not sure how to set that up, actually. Any suggestions then?
Yeah, I would say start without having to do that. Start by streaming it from your iPad or your
But then
iPhone.
it would just be my face. Yeah, it would just be.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have to be. You get a stand that is pointing down to your hands.
But then I can't see who's in the room. I can't
I
see
know.
anything.
That's what I'm
going on
saying.
with the
Just
room.
have them look at your hands, finish playing, then interact with them.
So then I would be moving the
That's
iPad.
okay. And that's okay because let me tell you, the live stream that you do does not need to be published. You can always just keep it private or delete it. So if you, because I think your concern, I think I can immediately sense is that, oh my gosh, it looks so unprofessional moving the camera here and there. You
and
want
awkward, like it's hard to how do you curate the shot if you move it, you know, it takes a while to set up a shot, and so then if you're moving the camera then you lose the shot, right? Like, so so okay, let me just say back to what you're saying. You're saying, like, right now on the piano there's a music stand. My iPad goes there and I can see, like in Clubhouse, exactly what's going on, and I talk to those PTR pictures like they're the audience. And so I'm imagining that all those, to interact with the people in a live stream on anywhere, YouTube, TikTok, IGs, I need to see what people are saying. So now but then they're just getting my face, and it doesn't even look like I'm playing the piano. I could be playing nothing. I could just be having a recorded piano if they
I would
see my
focus on
face.
your hands. Don't need to see your face, and then pull when you're talking, maybe flip the camera over to your face, and that's when you can see your iPad or your iPhone, and then talk.
Like a location. It's moving a location. It's not like flipping it, like, oh, click it, and so it's pointing one way or another way.
Yes, you would have to physically
Can I suggest
move
something
it.
though? Can I suggest something? You have your iPad and iPhone, right? Both?
Yes.
And your iPad is the one that's taking in all your audio thing.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, from the mixer.
So think of your iPad. iPad is your command center. Okay. Use the iPad to camera to shoot a video of you, portrait mode, where you can both see your face and your hand moving. You don't need to be in detail, just your hands. Because for me, if I'm a viewer, I would think that looking at the performer performing will be a lot more interesting than just watching the fingers moving, right? So it's both your expression and a little bit of your hand on your thing, almost like that, you know, this kind of view, but on the side profile. Okay, so your iPad is sort of like your command center where you broadcast everything, and then you have a problem of not able to see the command, right? So what happens is that you use your iPhone, you can put it on your piano where you can read the command. You just open up that live. Your commands are being scrolled up, right? So you can then just read on the command and then respond to it. So leave your iPad alone and then just respond looking at the iPad while you're reading the command over here. Does that work for you, Lorianne?
So I would open my secondary device as though I were just viewing the live stream, like I'd be a participant in the live stream.
To monitor the chats, yeah.
Yeah, just mute it. So don't have any audio from it.
Yeah, no audio from it. Yeah, just the view. And so it scrolls by very quickly. I think that would be easier if that was on my computer, because it would be bigger.
Yeah, you can.
Like I could see being live on TikTok and it muted. And if it were bigger, then it would be easier to see at a glance, because it goes by pretty fast.
These are experiences that you wouldn't know until you actually do it.
Right.
Like how fast the chat's gonna scroll. Would that be enough people to actually comment? And then would you be able to command like, oh, when when you're playing the piano, people are just saying, "Oh, this is brilliant and awesome." But the real check comes in after you finish your piano piece, and then you start interacting with people. And then, hey, how was the performance, guys? Did you like that? Oh, do you know that? And then people starting to respond, and then you answer some question, and then okay, now that people are not responding, let's go for the next piece, that kind of thing. So these are flow that you will create an experience when you are actually doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's very important, and that's why I'm setting up the doing is the first thing. It doesn't matter what platform it is, because you mentioned that keyword. You were saying that going into video is something new for you, and therefore
and I have some stress around it.
yeah, you'd have to learn that process, and the only way to do it is by doing it. And
you could do it unlisted.
Yeah, you can do
like
it
the first
unlisted
couple of
only.
times.
Yeah, or you just do it.
When they do it unlisted, you don't get that interaction from the
That's
live
true.
audience.
But you could
So
do
what happened
unlisted
is,
just for you to check out what it's like, and you see it,
yeah,
and then
so that's the first
lighting.
part. There's nothing really actually experience it live when people start interacting, because let me tell you this, that's why I say it's a growth path. You don't want people to be seeing you at your worst, right? Because when you start a TikTok account, when you have your least amount of followers, and when you screw up, that's the least amount of followers that actually sees you actually trying to make something. And these people will actually appreciate what you're doing, because you know what, you're trying, you're genuine, you're putting yourself out there. But when you gather enough followers that matters to you, and that's when you'll be like, oh, okay, I'm familiar with this. I'm not gonna fail. Just like John, look at it, how smooth he is with his all e-cams and everything going on right now already.
Put you back and forth.
Oh my gosh, you
exactly.
should watch. Lorian, if you go back and watch my first episode, you know how horrible it was.
Really?
So
I was trying. Here's the thing. I'm an open book, and I'm also very honest with my learning. And that's how I embrace learning, is by doing it. And therefore, I want to document the clumsy part of my learning, because it really does take several tries for you to become like, you think it's smooth, but just check out like the first episode of even just learner to learner. The music was playing wrong. I was playing the wrong music, and Clubhouse was in here last week. Clubhouse couldn't hear me because I tried out new things. So you want to decide, at least think about whether or not you want to get into that. I think going into video, it's a whole different realm. And if you feel like you want to start playing in that space, you got to get your foot in at some point. And by doing it, especially if you have like smaller group of audience first, right now, let's say if you do it on YouTube, then you can learn it and you go live, and then you private that video, and nobody will see that live stream anymore. It's only for those people who were there live at that moment.
Yeah, that's handy, actually, isn't it?
Yeah. And then it teaches you to learn all there's so much, right? We all know this. You've got your mixer to take care of. You got your microphones, the actual thing you're performing to deal with. And then you also have the software part. You are your own like producer, you are your own camera person. So there's a lot to learn. Yes, of course. I see some of the comments that Jason was sharing too. Is like you could hire a, like a professional to do that for you. Yes, of course you can do that, like videographer, and kind of plan it for you, and somebody who would produce that for you. Yes, but I think you want to learn it yourself, if I'm not mistaken. I've been talking to you for many years. I think you want to learn that yourself, and what I'm sharing with you is that by doing it is the best way to do it. And especially now that you don't have like, say 10,000 followers on YouTube that you post video, and then suddenly you kind of like, kind of clumsily change your camera angle and all that when you're live streaming. That's not going to be an issue for now. And by the time you put in, a month or two of live streaming, even clumsily, your clumsiness would get reduced after a few live streams. and you would have figured out how do you run the software. We don't even talk about directly, we're not even talking about using Ecamm or any other third-party software yet.
I see.
We're just talking about going live with the YouTube app. So before
Okay,
you
so
put in any money, you
yeah,
can already go live.
yeah, I think that's really valid. That is like that is legit because you know, we just have to start where we are, and that's what we did in Clubhouse. And but I felt like I had more support in Clubhouse in that, you know, you'd be in a room and then those, you know, friends would be there who could tell you the audio was working or not. So what do you suggest for how do you monitor how the audio is sounding over there when you can't be over there?
Because you can always play the replay. You can, and the replay
Okay,
will
that's
still
how
be in
you do it.
stereo, unlike Clubhouse where the replay is processed.
Okay,
Then
so
it's not accurate. Your replay will be an accurate reflection. Even nobody's watching, you can still do the live stream to learn the software and then
yeah.
play back the replay. Just make sure that you know, either make it unlisted or maybe even a private stream, and therefore only you will have visibility to it, and then you
Okay,
can
that's a
play
good
back.
idea. Do that in YouTube first, because for sure there's going to be nobody that comes. And what do you think about this idea, you guys? If I put got a secondary phone number, secondary account, I had to have to get a Google phone number somehow. I don't know how to do that, but and then I could be on both devices at the same time. Is that a good way to do it?
Both devices, as in,
Meaning my iPhone and my iPad, or would I be better off
you mean
learning to
live
do all
stream
of
on
this on
both
my?
devices?
Yeah, like
You
I want
can't
one
you can't
camera can
have
go.
one account with two devices streaming separately. That would be that would be your next step. Let's say if you go into like OBS or Ecamm.
Okay, so wait, I guess I didn't think that out quite right. I mean, if I want to use my iPhone camera,
Hmm.
but I want to have the audio coming through my iPad,
No,
so
you cannot.
that doesn't actually work.
That
Then. You
does not
cannot do.
happen. Yeah. If you want the
Okay,
audio to
okay,
be coming from your iPad has to be hosting the live stream
okay. So then we're back to John's uh the
solution.
idea
Yeah,
that
the workaround. Yeah.
just you just open up, you just join the live stream. But if it's your account, won't that be confusing it? Because I'll be live streaming on one, and then how can I just be a participant in a live stream with the other phone?
The
Can you do that?
participant is very passive on YouTube. You're
Right.
watching it.
But
That's the
with the same
participation.
account, but with this
Uh-huh.
with the same account, you can do that
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
you can do
with the
that.
Yeah.
same phone number.
Yeah, you just
Yeah, it
you
doesn't go
just open
not
up.
like
Yeah.
YouTube, like not like Clubhouse is like the same phone number. You can log in on multiple devices at the same time. You just can't live stream on
Oh,
both devices at the same
oh,
time.
oh, you can. Okay, so it's not like
Not like
Clubhouse, yeah,
Clubhouse.
because
Yeah.
you can't. Okay, thank you, because I felt like,
It's a
oh
lot
yeah, I
easier.
could only.
Yeah, it's a lot easier. Yeah.
Okay,
I just want to
that's a
add something.
fundamental piece of
Yeah, go ahead,
information
John.
there.
I want to add something. Lorian, I know you're on Clubhouse, and if you can just later on, maybe in the replays, in terms of YouTube replays or YouTube watch again, this is actually I'm using my iPhone as a camera right now. All right, and this is the quality of how an iPhone camera, and you probably have the same iPhone or whatever, and you can start from just this. And what makes it look proper and actually good enough is essentially all these lights that I have in my place. And if I were to just switch off everything, right, it just doesn't look as nice, you know. So even an iPhone camera can be nice. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And if you have the right kind of lights, then you can make that look like a produced shot. Okay. So if I turn back
Yeah.
my lights again, then you'll be able to see from an iPhone, it
Restriction,
actually look not bad.
I'm not looking at it yet. Let me just get you.
Yeah, you can
Could you do
watch it
that?
later when you do a YouTube replay, and then you can see it. And if I were to just turn off my iPhone camera, and this was what I was just doing, just moving things around. Does it make sense?
When he's done, you can go back to the replay. I think how much time we're in, like we're about, it started at 9, so it's like about an hour and about 40 minutes into that video. You can go there, and then this would be what John was referring to. He showed us some images.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to put up John has had a not John, Jason. Jason said, you've got to have the curiosity to learn and fail all at once. I think that is key to trying to go live stream, and got to start somewhere. Of course, you can hire a team and then just go and play. I mean, it would be a dream if you can have that sort of budget and sustain that. And some of us want to do that ourselves. I think, which is why I think we're having this conversation, Lorianne, is because you want to try, you want to do it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing Clubhouse. You would do something else, right? Oh, that's stupid new software. I'm gonna switch. a new. And we gotta fix that. I gotta report that bug to Ecamm. It's probably a Zoom SDK or maybe Ecamm. But anyway, regardless, you just need to embrace that failing is part of the live streaming, because live streaming is a completely different ballgame, especially when it comes to live stream that includes video, and then you are also the producer and the performer. So you got to embrace that. It adds that humanity and that authenticity to a different side of Lorianne, because people buy your CD and all that, and they see the picture on the cover and all that. So there's like that Lorianne, and there's also the real person Lorianne. Unless that is not something that you want for people to see, then live streaming may not be this sort of live streaming. That may not be for you. And you gotta go with it.
So good, because that is so the question for me right there. Like, is that really? Am I going to be an asset or a liability? Like, maybe it's not for everybody to be live streaming, and maybe it's like the metaverse or something.
But you wouldn't know until you try it. Because the people who watch live streams, why do people even watch this show? Like, so last week, I have a comment that came in that I thought, whoa, this is why I do what I do. I'm gonna see if I can find that comment. So this came from Kai. Kai, I think it's from Germany, if I'm not mistaken. If you're watching this, thank you so much for your comment. He said, I'm gonna show this to you also. So he said in his comment, I never saw, this is when we were soundcheck your system, Lorianne, when we were talking about how your stereo is too wide, and Michael is trying to kind of bring the right channel in a little bit, right? So Kai watched that and he said, I never saw, especially live streamed, this type of content yet. I found it very helpful to learn from seeing the whole thing, how it's done, so to say. Very nice. Thank you for your work. I wish you something. I wish you all something. I can't see. Why is it so? I can't zoom out. Why? Anyway.
Read more. I can see the button there. Read more. You can click.
I can't. No, I clicked it, but I think my page got messed up there. The chat got. Anyway, so regardless, you saw the point there. See, I'm demoing a point of like messing stuff up live in front of your face. And is it horrible? Does it show that I'm a bad pianist?
Yes.
Because I clicked the wrong button.
Bad clicker.
So this is what you have to decide, Laurie. And I think is showing the more they know that you are not there. You're not telling them, Lorianne, I'm the live producer. You are Lorianne, the musician.
Yeah.
So if you get on and if you stumble a little bit with the camera, people are there to hear you play, not to see you produce a show well. So maybe give that a thought, and maybe that might ease out. And
again, you want to eventually be producing it well and nice, but
But you gotta start somewhere.
You gotta start, yeah.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. You can be prepared with Ecamm and multiple cameras, and the moment you get on, you might freeze or you might stumble because then there are more things. We're talking about one camera on your iPad. Suddenly now you're talking about camera for your hands, camera for your face, and then maybe a chat coming in that you have to monitor the chat, and you have to then put the chat on. And so that can become even more overwhelming if you don't get that live streaming muscle memory down. Can you imagine how much more you have to handling more software that's a little bit more complex that's just
And
hit live?
and you're really onto something there, John, because what I find most valuable is to play my best. Like, I want to make art, I make music. It's not just about showing up and being on camera. I want to play well, because that's what's satisfying, is to play beautifully and like pour my heart out. And I think if there's a management of so many things, like even on Clubhouse, doing shows every day right now, it can interrupt the flow. Like, you can't focus to the same degree when you're managing about the tech, actually, truth be known, I suppose. So
Yeah. So maybe what you do is, because I have seen people do live streaming just on their fingers, on their hands, on the keys, no face, so you can, like, pick your nose, whatever, and live stream and play fully. You don't even need to talk to anybody. If you want to, you could. You could talk. You don't have to interact
like
and say,
that.
"I can't see the chat. I can't see. I will look at the chat when I'm done playing." Then you play. Let people enjoy the music. And then look at your chat, maybe on your iPhone, so you can leave your camera on just on your keyboard, just for now, until you're comfortable to move on to more.
And so would if I want to put that, then I want to use my iPhone because it's a better camera than my iPad. Because it's a USB-C, just like the
Yeah,
the
you
iPad.
can.
It
That
should be
you're
the same
wondering if you
audio,
can
right?
put
It'll
the
be the same audio
USB-C connection
quality.
from your mixer into your iPhone. Would that work? Is that what you're going to ask?
Yeah, with the same quality. Would it be
Uh-huh.
exactly the same
Yes.
sound?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
So
Same
you should
quality.
test it, right? You should plug it in and then go onto YouTube and start a live stream, just to test it. Then you don't even need
Test it
to.
here.
You can test it on YouTube.
But I mean, if I want to compare whether it's the same audio quality, I guess what you're saying is, if this is what it sounds like on an iPad in Clubhouse, it's going to sound like
Yes,
the
I'm
iPhone.
using I'm using an iPhone. I've been using an iPhone since iPhone 15 using the USB-C
But I just
connection.
can't. Like, you're going to run a mixer through an iRig through the iPhone. That would work, okay? And then because that's easier to set up as a camera on the hands, and it's easier to move around than
Using
the
your iPhone, yeah.
Yeah. So. Okay, and lights, action, and so I don't think I can do that in TikTok. I don't know why someone who has 100 followers can. I don't know how you did that, John. You said you had 100 followers and you still could play live. But anyway, it's good that I don't play live there first.
Your target is 1,000, and sometimes you get that sooner. Like, if you get 1,000, and then they open up the ability for you to live stream.
It's taken me like since January to get 400
And
followers.
that's okay. That's okay. I mean,
TikTok.
yeah, obviously, I'm working on it. I've had TikTok since the pandemic, but I don't put in. Do you? So since January, you've been posting weekly content on there?
Oh, every day. But until the last few weeks, I'm just like, oh, forget it, because nothing's growing. It trickles. It just trickles, drip by drip, drop by drop.
But
And every day I post.
everything takes effort. You would say pick, if it doesn't work well for you right now, if you want to try other places, you could, or you want to continue the effort for a longer period of time. But again, like I said, I am not the expert of the platform. I am sharing like my personal experience of going live, and how much it takes to go live. You got to get that part down. Doesn't matter which platform it is. You still got to go through the going live experience, which is sometimes a little nerve-wracking. And you want to get that in your muscle memory to get there. Okay, so Jason's saying it took me a year to get 1,000 followers.
Oh, really?
Mm.
Okay. Huh. Because it's pretty discouraging. Everyone was like, "Oh, when you go to TikTok, everyone on Clubhouse, oh, you're just gonna like, you're just
But you
gonna
gotta, yeah, it's there are so many users out there. You gotta put in the work if you want ultimately to be able to live stream there. And the work might be way more than you expected, and you might, if that's a platform that you want to continue, then you might have to continue there. But you
Well,
don't. Do you participate? Do you just post? Or do you
I
go,
just post. I don't participate. No.
okay. So I would suggest going to like watch other content that interests you, chat there, talk to people about other musicians so that you are not, because there's a lot of bots that could just be posting content out there and they don't like that kind of user. You got to be participating in the whole
Oh,
TikTok experience.
oh, interesting.
So you are broadcasting. That's not what TikTok is. TikTok is building a community with the audience. That's why live is so huge, because you get to build audience, not audience, relationship immediately during your live stream. So try that. Go to so the system knows that you are a person. You're not just putting out content rather than
TikTok is a very compulsive partner if you want to just put a thing, because the more loyal you are to TikTok, you don't live stream everywhere else. You're just loyal to TikTok. You do everything on TikTok. TikTok will reward you apparently.
Rob. Rob is smiling because I post. Rob, I just want to quickly say hi to you since you pop in after you got your camera connected and everything. So Rob channel, youtube.com/@autismmusician. So go check out Rob's channel. But I think Lorian, that's try something. You don't have to give up. I think you've put in enough work. But again, there's two separate things. I just think, again, I'm not an expert. I'm just saying that maybe TikTok wants you to participate, because that's how my account that I got live ability first is the one that I interact with other people more with. And then the account that I'm just posting still does not have, even though they're like about, 100 users separation, 100 followers separation difference.
Yeah, and you can't overestimate the difficulty, and by doing that, you're underestimating your ability. And if you're trying to pigeonhole what you don't know, and you don't like doing this, you don't like posting this and that, it takes consistent repetition that people can go to a place and trust. Like I just started following a Mexican celloist. And I thought her live was awesome earlier tonight, and I was like, "Oh, I'm giving her a follow," and I shared it on my profile tonight just to expose things that I find interesting. So you just have to get over your own ego. And there's a level of professionalism that everyone wants to achieve to, but if you can't even enjoy the beginning, you'll never get to the professional level unless you're allowing yourself to learn, fail, just go at it, let it live, let it run. I mean, there's so many things I don't know about filming. Like I love John's background. His picture quality absolutely amazing. But, you know, I just look at these are things that I can do too. He learned it from somewhere, and so do all the other speakers. They all have great, because I'm watching them on YouTube right now through my iPad, and I'm looking at the visual while listening to the quality and listening to the conversation. So it's like, if you're willing to ask the question and willing to go out and learn, don't just take notes, write down what can I learn from this, and just go through that process. No one likes going back to the drawing board or being a beginner, but sometimes that's where the real meat and potatoes of where you get to learn to do your best is at. not in the advanced skills.
And I also want to add too, and thanks Jason for that, and that just merely we're talking about your live streaming experience on TikTok, right? This one incident. We're not talking about your playing of the piano. We know you're a pro there. And that's why I think your audience would also know that you are the pro at that. So it's not like I'm talking about audio and then my audio sucks really bad. Then that would be bad. I may not know how to solve all the audio issues, but I know a bad one when I hear it. So at least you gotta have that. So we're not talking about your playing of the piano. We're really only talking about the experience of live streaming on a specific platform. So it is okay to have that not match your professionalism in your music because it's not related. Even though it's sort of linked, but it's not related. Does that make sense, Lorianne?
Yeah, and that's for sure. Yeah,
And it's up to
I,
you too when you're comfortable doing that, or if at all you're comfortable doing that.
and that's what gets to be discovered is, do I like doing doing video, and what would be the response? And there is this place called Chatter Social that is another social audio app that's begun. Did we talk about that already, John?
No, I'm there. I was there. I haven't left that platform. I am there. There's like an audio channel that's mine. So if you, but they haven't gotten to the point where I can do what I need to do there yet because the audio quality is not good enough yet. So that's why I haven't been doing anything there yet, because the reason why I'm not saying it as if Chatter's not have bad audio. It needs to be good enough for us to do sound checking. So which means, like for instance, when Joule was on Club Deck, what she heard was not what we heard. Until she jumped into Zoom, then she get to hear the accurate sound. We want fidelity good enough so that we can actually give advice or give input to people based on high enough fidelity audio quality. On Chatter, we're not there yet, and therefore we cannot do that. That's why I'm not there yet. So again, Lorianne, maybe it sounds like, and they also have video there. So I think the difference is you're comfortable doing audio. Are you thinking about getting into video? And we're not platform specific. We're merely talking about visual and audio at the same time.
Yeah, good
Something
question.
to think about. It doesn't. You don't have to decide the next
No, but
week.
I can answer that. I can answer that quite simply, which is, if there was the discoverability, just like you pointed out last week, how you're impacted by the lack of discoverability in Clubhouse, you just want to have that feeling of a place that's booming and play into it. And if there was just a social audio place like that, I could be perfectly content doing social audio like Clubhouse. But even Chatter, like you said, doesn't have the audio quality. LinkedIn doesn't have the audio quality, right?
And Chatter does not have the audience that because it's a beta right now. I don't know if the algorithm started to kick in yet, but when I was there just several weeks ago, the algorithm is not turned on, and therefore you're seeing everybody on the platform. So it seems like there are more people there. And so I don't think I don't have that information. I do not know if they have the audience that may.
They don't, John.
Yeah.
It's they took a mass amount of specific audience from here. They farmed it on Clubhouse, went over there, and they didn't have any talent to really take there. And so it's a big hodgepodge. They have lots of glitches. The audio can be okay at times. The video gets very janky. It's not what you think it is. There's so much work that needs to be done on it. I mean, no disrespect to them, but you want to go not where an app is beta just because there are so many new people are on there. You got to go where does my audience going to be? where are they going to thrive? When I do sound off check, tune in, my audience is here because I built it that way, in the mornings. If I do man to man voices and stories, I built it here, and it has longevity already. But if you go to a new app and you chase new app and after new app, you're going to be disappointed because everybody's doing the same thing you are, trying to find that audience that loves that voice, or loves that experience. When you don't have to chase brand new apps to get new exposure, you just got to find what are people looking when people are looking for what I do. What am I looking for first? That's the first thing that goes through my mind. I mean, if you want to find out about how to make great audio quality, John, where did you go? How did you learn about the RØDECaster? How many hours did you spend looking at other creators who had more experience and curiosity about the device that you love to use and tune? You found a lot more people, right? You didn't just find just one.
Mm-hmm. And I'm still learning, frankly.
Nah, you're
I'm
the expert
constantly.
now.
Well, I think I have more experience and more time with it. There's still so much that I'm not aware of. Okay, so Rob is leaving. Rob has no audio, so he's just waving. So I can do active speaker because there's no audio to trigger him into the active speaker mode. Good to see you, Rob. I'm glad you're okay because last time he had to leave abruptly to go shelter because of the hurricane.
Oh.
Good to see you, Rob. And I think that's that. And Lorianne, you can, if you want to venture into this, is just to start explore the grit of doing live stream. A lot of people go through that. The reason why I know is because there's a lot of my Ecamm friends who have Ecamm longer than I have, but have not started streaming yet. Because they have that's why, even though I love, by the way, you can get a discount. Just gonna plug. You can get a discount if you want to subscribe to Ecamm, you can get a 15% off with my own code, ONG15. So just put it in there when it gets there. But I don't want to sway us there just yet, even because you got to get that live streaming muscle in and then find the tool that matches your comfort level when you get more comfortable. Because I've met so many of them with the software, but don't use it because they haven't even started doing it.
Yeah, like
I
I did
think
download it and I have it in my computer now, but it's true, I don't need it right now. I've got nice lights I can set up. I've got some basic fundamentals I can do, which is good sound, lighting, and even before I get to that Ecamm. So should I just keep it on my computer or should I delete that app for now out of my computer, do you think?
If you want to try it, you could. You can watch some of the tutorials. There is a free master class that's put out by Alec, who's the Take One Tech, that goes through everything, but you can play with it. You don't have to get rid of it. I mean, you could if you feel like it's too overwhelming. Alan said, ONG15 is like ONG is. It looks like ONG15, which you can get 15% off. Yes, ONG is. That's easy to remember. So you don't have to get rid of it. You can play with it. I use it, so maybe you can play with it and you can come, chat more about Ecamm, which is what my intention is tonight. But of course, live show is always like that. You never know which direction it's gonna go. I have it planned and it completely go different direction. Doesn't mean that it's not great. In fact, this is a great conversation because I think, Lorianne, not only you are thinking that. I think way more than you. There are so many people out there who are thinking that, and just when do you take the first step? And whether or not you want
I want to add also, when Lorianne decides to go live, because she's very familiar with, say, Clubhouse, a social chat network where after your performance, you're chatting with people, you feel like, there is some sort of interaction together with it. When you do live, and especially when you're in the live broadcast alone, you feel much more lonely than, say, what the social apps gonna have, because they have constant feedback, people chat directly. And I believe if John Ong were to do live without the participation of myself, Ernesto, and even Rob just now, then he's literally just speaking into the camera himself.
You have to carry, and people get bored. You have to carry the whole conversation, which I can probably talk for 2 hours, but it won't be as exciting.
He's designed to do this. He's meant for doing live. John Ong, because for the life of me, as much as I've got all these nice microphone and all this all set up, I have the thrill of setting it up. I have got zero content.
Well, you're just providing
I can think of to actually doing it, you know. Yeah, so you might feel a little bit disjointed from a Clubhouse experience.
It's kind of an awkward feeling, yeah. Which is also, Lorian, part of the grit of going live. You gotta experience that, because without going live, you're not going to experience that awkwardness that he was talking about. You feel like, yes, you can look at the chat, but then you still need to carry on. You need to carry the stage the whole time, which there's no audience participation. You can't hear the clap, you know, like in a real performance, like performing halls and auditorium. So it can be a little bit awkward, but all that is part of going live, and things going wrong, it's part of going live. And it's the fun. If you embrace it, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
With the RØDECaster video, you don't have to go wrong.
You know what's kind of fascinating is, without realizing it, like the last week and a half, 2 weeks, I've been playing a lot in Clubhouse because I'm preparing for a concert. And so I've been not bringing anyone up on stage, and everyone stays in the audience. And so it's just been me moderating, and I have had that exact experience of carrying the whole conversation.
There you go. You already have that experience.
I'm ready. I'm actually ready. You see, because I just look at the chat when I'm ready, and sometimes I look and sometimes I don't, and then I can respond to the comments. But I can see so well; it's right in front of me, and I've been just solo broadcasting there, because my intention is to get through my program as though I were playing my concert live in a hall. So, you know, you're not having people up on stage in that case, right? They're out in an audience. So it's funny that I've been so inadvertently.
You're practicing it already.
Yeah.
No, that's encouraging to hear.
Lorianne, I looked at your Instagram and I just put a comment on one of your posts. And I said, hey, this is TikTok worthy. Take those same videos and go put them on TikTok and mess around with the labels, the hashtags. Don't have to re-record, but use what you already have. That stuff right there alone.
But I think I do have that on my TikTok.
I can't find your TikTok.
Okay, well, maybe, why is that? It's Lori-AnnSpeed piano. Why can't you find, or Lori-AnnSpeed music at Lori, no dash, that's probably the problem. LORIANN.
Well,
Speed.
let me give you a little secret about that. If you have to specifically spell it like that, then people are website stupid. They're not going to find you that way.
Well, what do you do? I have a dash in my name, or I don't have a dash. So I took the dash out because it doesn't accept the dash anyway. So
I think what he's saying is it's a little clunky. Do you have like a website that has all your social that you can point people to?
She has a link tree, but I mean,
and it's at the bottom. Yeah, on the bottom of my link tree, there's.
But the problem is I would take the link tree and where you're gonna put get the most visibility, make it within the top 3. You've got to make if TikTok is going to be your new venture and making that exposure happen, then you got to prioritize these other links that it's like, okay, concert tickets, October 27th. I see that. There's a point on that. And then your album, but people, when they're looking, they're not going to always scroll at the bottom. They're going to stay at the top. So you need to find the social media that's visually friendly. You know, your colors are great, but it can be very deceiving if the outlines of the social media are just in white design. I'm not going to look at that. I'm going to be like, do I have to translate what those symbols mean?
I also don't see it on your website, Lorianne. LoriAnnSpeed.com. Are you going to?
Yeah, that should be on there too.
It's at the top. It should be right at the top. Is it
I don't
not?
see TikTok on there. I see Facebook, Instagram. Let me show you. I see
Oh yeah,
Facebook, Instagram,
YouTube.
Spotify, and YouTube.
Yeah, no TikTok. Yeah, that's right. I can add that. I made my own site. I can add it.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that way you can just say go to laurieannspeed.com and then click on the TikTok. So rather than having to spell it's just one additional friction.
Yeah, that is very interesting that you couldn't find that. And but first of all, thanks Jason for I think what you're saying, what you started with is that you're saying my videos are worthy of follows. It looks good on my Instagram. I think that's what you were trying to tell me, correct? Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll just tell you what I see, and I'm an avid TikTok user, and don't take this personal, but your social media is a mess. You got to make it so it's fifth grade, like third grader usable. People don't want to have to read so hard. They look at symbols, they look at what's visually pleasing, they like ease. They don't like overcomplicated word salad on websites or link trees. That's the misconception.
But then
People
I'm
like
not really being myself because I'm a deep philosophical spiritual
you
person.
may be that, but
But
people got to get in. They got to look to see what's in the door before they can appreciate
I
what's
know, but it
inside.
wouldn't be obvious to me to be like that. But thank you. I appreciate the coaching
Yeah.
because I wouldn't think of that because I thought if we're supposed to be authentic and to dumb it down is what you're saying or something.
Nah, when you go into a restaurant, do you look at the menu before you go in, or do you just like, what does it look like on the outside? And is the outside appealing? So when I walk inside, I'm in the next level of curiosity. And then when I sit down, and I'm feeling the ambience of where I'm at. Now I'm curious to read more. What's this place about? What's the food? What's going on? Where's the aroma? That's where the in-depth comes in. The more they go in, the more they click, the more they're interested. But TikTok and any social media, if you can't, so to speak, punch them in the mouth and or slap them in the mouth, and they're like, "Wait, what just happened?" And then hook them. If you don't hook them in 10 to 15 seconds, they're moving on to somebody else. That's reality. So you can't think too in depth. You have to think ease, user
That's why
ease.
social media is so freaking difficult. It's so difficult to be
Yeah.
easy, you know?
Be
Because
My
I'm a
appealing.
God.
philosopher. Like, look, I studied Stoicism for 20 years, and for 2 years I couldn't get people interested. What did I do? I changed my tactics. I stopped thinking so deep to get people curiosity about deep. You know what? I did simple things. I encouraged and I wanted to tease their intelligence. So that's what you have to do. You can be all in depth, but if no one's willing to walk through those doors, oh man, that takes too much thinking. Sorry.
Good
Uh,
point.
I'm not all down for that.
Good
Mhm.
point. Then
You
you're
got to
not
get out of your
even
own way.
you're
You got
not
to.
even attracting anybody to look at your content because if the front door is not attractive enough for you to stop.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
It really is hard
Yeah.
to swallow, but you know
Mhm.
what? The sooner you
Yeah.
get over
So
that,
this looks like a mess because there's too much going on. It needs to be simpler.
yeah, and um, you got to think about. I love your green, but it may be too deep. It may be like oh, am I lowering the mood by going in that? Some colors affect our eyes, and you got to think about the user. The user likes
Jason, where are
something
you at?
that's
Are you at her Instagram or what? Where?
yeah. I was at her Instagram.
Okay.
Then I looked at her link tree. I loved her website design. I went into her hard website and I was like, okay, I love the picture right off the bat. Good. But then I start scrolling down and there is a lot to read, but where's the call to action? Now, when you get past the large paragraphs, you see her albums, right? You go and see there's a list of her albums. You know, the call to action is where people, I like that the pop up came a few seconds after I got on the website, because then it's asking me if you'd like to subscribe. You got that pop-up. Okay, I'm interested. But if you don't want to subscribe, that could be defeating. So the call to action is buy an album or go to her link to listen to her latest live. A calendar is a call to action. Live producing on Clubhouse, 12:30 Pacific Standard Time. Boom. But if you don't have Clubhouse, we have this extension through Ecamm Live or whatever you want, however you want to deliver, because that's for live performances. And then also the scarcity. If you're producing everyday live, that's too frequent. You want to make it so where, oh my God, Thursday this afternoon, or you know what, Thursday night, I'm so down to listen to that because it's better than watching TV. You have to build a marketing campaign of getting people curious, But if you give it too much, be like, oh well, whatever, I'll come back. You you've got to tease people what they can't get enough of, And if you make it too frequent, then it's easy. Make them work a little bit.
So I think the discussion's been great, and I think not only for Lauren, I think all of us hearing it, like the sometimes the hard truth about the simplicity
Right.
that's needed for social media,
Yeah, I kind of like the hard truth. I was like, can you do it for my website as well?
Yeah. So
Nice one, Jason.
thank you, Jason, for your
keep in
input.
mind, I have Asperger's, so I'm on the spectrum. I'm not trying to be impersonal. I took the feelings out of the game. I just used my super skill of analytics. What do I see? What do I notice that I would be curious about?
Yeah,
And
no, that's great. And
so I'm not attached.
no, thank you so much. And I think, Lorianne, I would love to hear your development in this exploration. Something that's uncomfortable, you have to step out of your comfort zone. Whatever you do, there's no judge, especially here in this space. There's no judgment in the sense where it's like we're laughing at you for not being able to do live stream or not feeling comfortable doing live stream. We give you, if you sound this way, your right channel is too far right. We'll tell you that. That's the feedback, not judgment. So I would love to continue hearing your progress in this space, whether or not you decide to do it. I think it's a good fun challenge, and since you're part of the Soundcheck community for so long, I would love to hear that. And if you do move ahead with it, and when you get to a point where you want to pick our brains or talk about live streaming in general, or even as you venture into playing maybe with Ecamm Live now, if you want to do more, feel free to come back to the space. I guess Soundcheck gonna do more than sound.
You know what I would love? I would love Lori to
Yeah.
meet Brandon, Brandon Wilson, my designer, because he looks at websites and he'll tell you like what's up and give you encouragement of like how to look at design to work for you. That's just, man, he's doing amazing work in building mine, man. And he's on your, look up Brandon Wilson. He's in my profile. That will, trust me, I think the hardest thing for every creator is, can you match the design to your performance? We have an idea of how we perform, but the design usually doesn't match. Like if you look at John's design, look at his profile on Clubhouse. Now look at his design on YouTube. It all flows. It all works in a theme. The transition is not hard at all. So then when you go and listen to him, John's bubbly, funny, intelligent, colorful in how he describes, walks you through the process. It all flows. No,
You know, there's two Johns in the chat room right now.
Yeah, you gotta be specific. Which one? Just kidding.
I'm
I'm
just feeling it.
The master of the ceremonies. How about I'll call him that?
Oh gosh,
man!
No, thank you.
I don't give compliments unless they're well deserved.
Well, thank you, Jason. And the reason why this channel exists is partly due to Jason's words also. because you all know on Clubhouse, he's been in Clubhouse and he's been encouraging me and just say you got to do more than just being in Clubhouse, and and I wanted to do that, but I wanted to wait for the moment to do that, and the moment was when Ecamm launched Ecamm for Zoom. That is when I'm able to then do it simpler on how to get my YouTube audience to participate, like how Clubhouse audience can participate in the room. So in Clubhouse, they raise their hand, they come on up on stage. On YouTube, they go to my website and click on the Zoom link, and then they call into Zoom. So before that integration, it was very clunky for me to do. And another influence is John. John's been asking for me to create a podcast out of Soundcheck and RØDECaster User Meetup. And because he wants to listen to some of the conversations that we have. This is not one of those where you're quick cut and get all your points. There's so many of them out there, which is like what Kai was talking about. He hasn't heard like a live stream going through the entire process from the beginning to the end. And it's kind of refreshing for him. So it'll find its audience. Like Kai, for instance, is not part of the Ecamm family. He just happened to stumble into the channel. So, but thank you all for your input. I want to go to Ernesto though. Ernesto, we were supposed to do something with him, but we really didn't get to do anything with it.
That's okay. We can actually save it for next time. I just wanted to bring it out, like my condenser mic that I wanted to try out. And I know we mentioned it earlier, but you know what? Like you were saying, you don't know how the podcast is going to guide you, or how the live is going to guide you. And there's been a lot of great points covered. You actually encouraged me to go live for the first time, even though I couldn't unmute myself. But hey, you know what? That's how you learn.
Yes.
Today was the video part. Like, hey, okay, I'm learning, so I get a pass.
That's good. Now, maybe do you think, I know you have school, so sometimes your schedule can't be, but if you want to come back next week, we can talk about like to RØDECaster User Meetup. If you're, oh dang it, sorry, this new version of Ecamm, if the speaker does not speak long enough, it goes to black instead of going to. They have that issue before, so I'm going to report that bug. But what I'm trying to say is, if you can come back next week, we can go through, because we can go through the setup process of microphones, which is what I initially planned on doing. But we can do that next week because it's just us. So what you'll do is we can go through the whole process, because I think the one process that is very important and crucial, and you may already know this, but for somebody who may not know this, setting up your RØDECaster is just like any other mixer, but they call it differently. So when we come to gain, they don't never use the word gain in the RØDECaster. They just call it level. And level in other mixers is the fader. That's the level. Okay. But they call it level for gain. So there's like a little bit of discrepancy. That's why sometimes it's almost like confusing. And I could even say so for Ecamm, because Ecamm is made for, just like the original RØDECaster, is made for somebody who does not have a lot of audio knowledge and be able to record a podcast. So that's the original RØDECaster. So I think because of that history, same thing with Ecamm. Ecamm, they want to make it so simple that anybody can run Ecamm. Now, they have evolved so much. You can do way more than just running like a stream to Facebook. That's their initial thing, is to run something to Facebook. And now can do so much, but you don't have to do all the complex stuff. You can start simply. So what we can do is we can go through the whole microphone setup process, and we can talk a little bit about the difference between a condenser mic and a dynamic mic, and under what circumstances it's great to use a dynamic, and when is it good for a condenser.
Awesome.
Sound good? Okay.
Yeah, sounds great.
Hey, thank you, Lorianne, for the question and the conversation, and thank you, Jason, for your input as well. And of course, thanks to those of you who are watching and still watching. Let me see how many people. Oh, this is 5 people watching. I appreciate you. We've gone on for 2.5 hours, and you're still here listening to it. And and Cindy Lou. So we're pushing Ecamm out to next week, I guess. So I'm so sorry, Cindy Lou. We can talk about, and now, maybe Cindy Lou, if you are interested, I think you mentioned last week, you can tell us in the chat also. I think you mentioned last week that you are interested in finding out more about Ecamm and Zoom integration. Is that what you specifically want to learn more? So yeah, the conversation, because it's live, and sometimes when I want to get into that conversation, for instance, this is not to blame you, Ernesto, this is live, so it's nobody's business. I was planning to have talking about the two different types of microphones, and then we're going to go in and set yours up. But you're not there at all.
Well, you know what? I don't have school next week, so that'll work out. Yeah.
But then there's live, right? There's live, like he's not out, he's not available yet. So, and then it's not like, I'm like texting him, like he is somebody I know from YouTube, right? Yeah. And so, but what we can do is, take that and push that off to next week, and then we can go through that. Even if you don't feel the pressure, because I appreciate everybody who participate in the conversation and join in the conversation and chip in and share your experience and your feedback, especially those who on Clubhouse, on stage talking, and also on Zoom participating, showing up their faces on there so willingly. So yes, so Cindy Lou said yes, she wants to know specifically about Zoom, and I'll briefly talk about that. Remind you about what I just talked about. I said that Jason influenced and John influenced why I take the room from Clubhouse to YouTube, and Ecamm made it possible. And that is what Ecamm for Zoom is, which is specifically what Cindy Lou wants to learn more about. So it's to imagine, instead of having a real camera in here for a second guest or a third guest, like John and Ernesto, they are connected remotely via Zoom. But on their experience, on their end, it is merely a Zoom call that we all trained to experience in the year 2020. So to them, it's just a Zoom call, but then on the show itself, it's the three of us on here, like as if we're like remotely, which is technically true, they're remotely connected, but it's part of the show now. And part of the power of Ecamm is then I am able to switch it to just Ernesto if I want to. I can switch it to just John, or the two Johns if if we want to. And so we can have it, any combination. And that is just a quick switcher. You can actually even do, so Lorian, when you do look at the replay, you can have one picture as your fingers that you're playing of the piano on your keys, and the other camera on your face. So you can do a lot of different options. Like for instance, this screen is me and my club deck or my Clubhouse room. So you can do all sorts of layout that fits what you wanted to do. And we can talk more about it when the time comes. So next week we'll talk more, maybe with Cindy Lou, and maybe you can ask question. So let's see what she already has one. So you add a camera for each Zoom participant you want to show. Yes. Answer is yes. Every Zoom participant becomes a camera for Ecamm, which is what is so powerful, and that's why I can quickly do change of layout. So it's really awesome once you learn how to use it, and it's actually not very different. It's just that you got it just right. Every participant can become a camera. And you have a limit. I think the limit is 8 participants, if I'm not mistaken. I need to look at the number again. 6 or 8? 8, I think. 8 participants of 8 Zoom calls plus yourself. 8 Zoom callers plus yourself. So we'll talk more next week. Learn more about Ecamm. Thank you, Ernesto. Any final thoughts before we go? Let's start with those people on Zoom, John and Ernesto.
Well, the feeling between you and me right now is that your eyes are shutting and my tummy is grumbling.
He gets his
because of
lunchtime
different time zone. So yeah, we are in the same room per se, but yeah, the feeling is a little bit different.
Different body experience because he's hungry and sleepy. Ernesto, anything for you?
I guess for me, it'd be if you have an iPhone, you have a camera. So just hit go live.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, for or any platform.
Right.
Yeah, Instagram Live, you can do that. You can do that on YouTube. You can do that on TikTok. So you can go live right from there. And
you guys inspire me to actually try to come up with something live, because I think I'm going live later on in the evening, my time over here, to sort of like talk about my work. Like, my work is not really about all this video and live production and audio. Is more towards really about wedding photography, right? And I have got all these planned out to do. Oh, that's my WhatsApp. You don't want to be seeing my WhatsApp.
well, let me cut away to Ernesto.
And yeah, I'll be sharing a little bit about the wedding that I shot over at Udaipur in India, and these are some of the imagery that you can preview. And if you guys are interested about photography,
maybe follow
or
his
weddings
TikTok
in general,
live stream.
yeah, you can.
You can analyze the photo. Or your YouTube live stream, Facebook,
and YouTube, yeah.
And maybe put in your information that you want people to follow in the chat right now before we close out, so that
in the
YouTube chat, so that people who are watching this live stream can also go to the chat and scroll all the way down to the bottom and see it. So post your link, Ernesto and John, and we can wrap up. But I like the summary of what Alan from Australia is saying. He said, try again, fail again, fail, but wait, actually, I want this screen. So I have this layout too. I'm going to put this layout and not Daniel's comment, like this one. Okay, Alan says, try again, fail better. John's principle in summary. That is very good. That's very good. And it's also in the chat, but I just want to pop up that it's there. You can.
I don't think you can put links in the chat though.
You.
Oh yeah, it came
you
out.
You can. Yeah, in the YouTube chat you can. Yes.
Okay.
So thanks you all. Before we shut down, you feel free to put in the chat in whatever channel you want me to. You want other viewers to go to. You can go to the chat and check out those info. Ernesto, thank you so much for joining. We'll see you next week, hopefully, with no school, and so maybe we can actually get your audio set up. Thank you. And Laura, anything from Clubhouse, Laurianne or Jason? Any final thoughts before we go?
Hey, John, take clips out of this YouTube that you're filming now and start loading it on your TikTok. You have so many opportunities. Use Opus Pro clips. Start promoting your TikTok. You definitely could have an audience, man. I was just looking at your stuff. So, best way to, practice what you preach is just go and do it. So you got plenty of opportunities to take clips from your live on YouTube, because I think this was a great YouTube, to drive questions and curiosity to Soundcheck.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you, Laurianne. I will take that. Laurianne, any thoughts before we go?
Yeah. Well, a great evening spent here. I've enjoyed it, and thank you for all the pouring in. I mean, that, and always, I know it's with the best of intentions, John. I didn't take anything personally. I get that. I'm very coachable, and I like learning, and so even pointing out things here, there, in socials or wherever, it's all great. And so thanks for all of that input from everybody. It's invaluable to me. I appreciate it. And just good luck with everything you're up to, John. And I really just wish you all the best. You just are amazing. And I'm sure that somehow, as you keep moving out into the world, like Jason coaching you, that more and more people get to experience your heart and your skills. It's your mastery. So thanks so much.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thanks so much, everybody. And thanks for those of you who are watching, especially those who finished this replay. And Alan's been watching it live with us. We still have 3 people. Plus, again, I'm not chasing after numbers. I'm still getting my muscle memory in, right, of doing live stream, because I'm trying to do a whole lot. And we understand that going live stream by yourself as a producer, as also the host or the content creator person yourself, and also hosting, having people in Zoom and having people in Clubhouse, trying to get those two together, while there's also chat in YouTube. It is a lot. But the more you do it, the more comfortable you are with making mistakes, and then you make the mistakes part of the fun. Okay, all right. Thank you all so much. And we will see you next week. Take care, everybody, and have a good night.